Good evening, welcome to Selhurst Park on Radio 5 Sports Extra. I'm Alistair Bruce Ball, and tonight we are bringing you full commentary of Crystal Palace against Manchester City in the Premier League. As I'm sure you'll be aware, this is a difficult time for BBC Sport and for those that work in the department, and I hope it all gets resolved. Personally, I've found today very difficult, but I'm a BBC staff member, I'm a radio commentator for BBC Radio 5 Live, and we are here to provide our usual service to you, our audience, as we have done on 5 Live throughout the afternoon. This is Radio 5 Sports Extra. Let's concentrate on the football that we are about to see. Dark skies above, we are sheltered from the rain that is falling. The two teams are on their way. They'll be in front of us shortly, and Pep Guardiola's Premier League champions are in town. Manchester City start tonight 5 points behind Arsenal, who lead the table. They've both played the same number of games, 12 games to go. Manchester City now surely know they cannot afford many more slip-ups, if any, so every single point is vital. As for Crystal Palace, slightly different for them at the other end of the table, without a win in their last 9 Premier League games. As you can hear, it's not dampened the atmosphere at Selhurst Park, certainly at the start of this one, but they're under a little bit of pressure. Their manager Patrick Vieira is also under a little bit of pressure, and they start tonight 4 points above the bottom 3. Alongside me this evening, a former Welsh international who played a bit of football actually here for Crystal Palace, as well as Cardiff City and West Ham United. It is Danny Gabidon. Danny, let's start with Crystal Palace, your former club. There is a bit of pressure on them at the moment. The form's not been good, and the next 3 games of this one, Brighton away, which is a big game for them anyway, and Brighton are in form, and then Arsenal before the international break.
Yeah, the pressure's certainly ramping up on Patrick Vieira and this Crystal Palace team. Really struggled to score goals this season. Defensively haven't been too bad, but the manager trying to get that kind of balance right between defence and attack has been a constant kind of issue, and they are looking over their shoulders now. You look at the results today, obviously Everton getting a fantastic win, Bournemouth getting a superb win against Liverpool, Leeds picking up a point. It does just ramp up the pressure on this game this evening, so Patrick Vieira have to find a way of getting a performance and getting a result and kick-starting this team again. And they have got previous good results against Man City, not so much here at Selhurst Park, but they have caused Man City 1 or 2 issues over the last couple of seasons, so they'll be looking to kind of feed off that confidence and hopefully put in a good performance.
Yeah, in Pep Guardiola's time, they've won 8 out of 13 Premier League games against Crystal Palace. They've drawn 3 and lost 2. Funnily enough, both defeats actually at home for Manchester City at the Etihad Stadium. But the really interesting stat that popped up ahead of this game is that they have dropped points, Pep Guardiola's Manchester City, in 5 separate games against Crystal Palace. In Guardiola's time at City, they've only dropped points in more games against Liverpool, Tottenham and Manchester United. So it does emphasise the point that Danny is making, that they can be awkward customers for Manchester City. The teams are out, the tracksuit tops are coming off, the rain is falling. Both managers have made a couple of changes from the last Premier League games. For Crystal Palace, that was a 1-0 defeat at Aston Villa. Cheick Doucouré was sent off in that game just after the hour mark, so he is suspended today. Luka Milivojevic comes into the midfield for Crystal Palace, only a 3rd Premier League start of the season for him, and Jeffrey Schlupp returns for Ebere Eze, who drops to the bench. 2 changes for Manchester City. Kyle Walker drops to the bench. John Stones is back. He was in good form for City before the most recent injury. He's missed 8 games, but he's back, and we think he'll be starting at right back for this one this evening. Kevin De Bruyne starts on the bench. Bernardo Silva comes in. The other point to make about Manchester City, Danny, is of course they have a game on Tuesday in the Champions League against Leipzig, which is very much alive because that's 1-1 from the first leg. So this is absolutely vital, but also Pep Guardiola must just be thinking and planning, and you know, we'll see his changes later on in the game.
Yeah, and he will be, Pep Guardiola, but look, I think the situation that they're in with Arsenal doing so well this season and City being a few points behind them, you know, he's got to take each game as it comes, and look, they have the squad to kind of compete on all fronts, so I don't think that will be too much of an issue with the game in midweek. But they just look like this Man City team are starting to kind of kick into gear now. 4 wins out of the last 5. Phil Foden back in the team, scoring goals, playing really well. So this is a difficult ask for this Crystal Palace team this afternoon. It really is. They do look like they're starting to kick into gear and really turn the screw.
Both managers at the moment sheltering in the dugouts against the wet, wintry conditions. Pep Guardiola, I think, had the beanie hat on and his arms were folded tightly across his chest. Patrick Vieira leaning back as well, looking cool and calm as ever, but could obviously do with a big result here for Crystal Palace. About to get underway here on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Crystal Palace in home kit, first choice kit, that is the red and blue vertical stripes, blue shorts with the red stripes down the side, the blue socks with the red tops, and Manchester City in change kit, which is the sort of very light lime green, almost yellow shirts with the dark blue bands across the front, the dark blue shorts, and then the matching light green socks. We've kicked off and Erling Haaland wins a header from a ball downfield from Ederson. Rodri plays it back into defence, and John Stones is ostensibly playing right back, but obviously being Manchester City in possession of the football, the first thing he does, Danny Gabardon, is move straight into the midfield. I mean, he can cope with that though, can't he?
Well, he certainly can. He's a fantastic footballer, John Stones, and has played a lot of this season in that right back position and done really well. Just been unlucky with injuries really. When he's been getting into form, he's just picked up a niggly injury and it's just set him back, but nothing will change in that respect. I think you'll see Nathan Ake at times do that on the left hand side, look to play a little bit more inverted and just overloading that kind of midfield area and just dominate possession.
Phil Foden right under our noses in our commentary position here, up above the fans, above the pitch. He's on a run infield from the right, flicks a pass to Jack Grealish, familiar figure with the socks rolled down, the hair tied back with the Alice band. Plays the ball back to Nathan Ake and wide to Grealish again. So Grealish with a low right-footed ball, might have been meant for Haaland. Gundogan possibly got in the way. Manchester City have kept possession and they've worked it quickly into the inside right channel. It comes wide right to Foden, dances onto his left foot, gets away from Tyreek Mitchell. Rodri sweeps a pass out to the left, and here's Jack Grealish. Grealish 25 yards out, clever little switch pass to Ake on the outside. Ake's cross chested away by Albert Sambi Lokonga, and that is a Manchester City corner in the opening stages of this game. Danny Gabardon.
Excellent start to the game from Man City. I was just looking at them right from the kick-off. It kind of went back to Ederson, and you expected maybe Man City to kind of build up from the back and work their way up the pitch, and it was a long direct ball into Crystal Palace's half, and then they won the second ball and they built the attack from there.
Phil Foden's taken the corner from the left, looks like good delivery. Joachim Andersen's in the right place for Palace, header away, picked up by Gundogan, down to the byline, chip cross to the far post, Stones heads it back across goal, can't find Haaland, volley from Rodri, brilliant save by Guaita, won't quite come down for Diaz, another strike from Rodri, takes a couple of deflections, and Crystal Palace are able to clear with Milivojevic, pressure on again, Ake heads it forward, Lokonga intercepts, Ake chests it down, he's 10 yards just inside the Palace half, and he plays it wide to Bernardo Silva, who's heavily challenged by Luka Milivojevic, and that'll be a free kick for Manchester City.
I think from a Crystal Palace point of view, if you're going to concede from a corner against a Man City team, you're a little bit disappointed, and they clear the first ball, comes back to Gundogan, he does really well, gets to the byline, thinks it to the far post. I think it's Diaz who heads it back across goal, and Rodri catches the ball, the strike really well just inside the edge of the 18-yard box. Right to dive into his right, it's a really good save, instinctive, diving to his right, had to react quickly.
Guaita in goal for Crystal Palace, whose palms have already been stung. Nathaniel Klein right back, Tyreek Mitchell left back, Joachim Andersen, Mark Gahey, the two centre-backs. Midfield three of Luka Milivojevic, the sitter, Albert Sambi Lokonga on loan from Arsenal, and Jeffrey Schlupp alongside him. And then the front three of Michael Olise, Jordan Ayew and Wilfried Zaha. Grealish with a low shot just wide of Guaita's right-hand post. Again, I think the keeper had it covered, but the threat from Manchester City is clear. 3.5 minutes in, and they've had two attempts on goal.
Fantastic start, but from a Crystal Palace point of view, this is way too easy. Jack Grealish picking the ball up on the touchline, left-hand side, drives inside Nathaniel Klein, he sells himself, Milivojevic coming across, doesn't get there, gets the shot away inside the 18-yard box, really should have scored, just dragged the shot wide, AVB, as you said.
Manchester City, Ederson in goal, John Stones at right back, Ake left back, Manuel Akanji and Ruben Dias, the two centre-backs, Rodri and Gundogan, the midfield pairing, Foden, Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish in support of Erling Haaland, who scored a second-half hat-trick in the space of 19 minutes in Manchester City's 4-2 win against Crystal Palace at the Etihad in August. Might have been a Ruben Dias handball on the edge of the box, totally accidental. The referee has allowed play to go on, and Crystal Palace do have the ball. Elise plays it back to Lokonga, again looking for Elise on the right-hand side, gets the cross in, missed at the near post by Zaha. Foden is there for Manchester City, edge of the box, might have been dragged down there by Jordan Ayew. Referee Robert Jones says yes, and it's a free kick for Manchester City. No chance to draw breath because they've taken it, and Bernardo Silva has scampered 60 yards downfield. He's got support from Stones, first time cross, miscued, not miscued, but misdirected. It's gone straight over the bar.
Centre half's cross.
Goal kick.
Centre half's cross, not the most comfortable in those advanced areas, John Stones, but much better from Crystal Palace there. First time they've been able to kind of get on the ball. Elise down that right hand side, twisting, turning. There was a half chance for Zaha on that near post. Elise gets played back in by Lokonga, and he whips it across that near post, and Zaha, it's difficult for him, just misses the ball completely, swings the right foot at it. Then Man City right back down the other end, lightning counter attack, and John Stones just over it in the cross.
Six Nations Rugby continues over on 5 Live. Commentary of England, France against Twickenham. This is Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0 on Sports Extra. And just in case you hadn't heard the Premier League scorelines from earlier on today, and Danny's actually mentioned a couple in terms of teams that Crystal Palace will be a little bit nervous about. Bournemouth got the win against Liverpool in the lunchtime kick-off. Philip Billing with that goal. Big win for Everton at home to Brentford. They won that one 1-0. Important point for Leeds. I think they might have been behind twice in that game, actually. And it finished Leeds 2, Brighton 2. That was the commentary on 5 Live this afternoon. Chelsea 3-1 winners at Leicester, so going better for Graham Potter in recent times. And Harry Kane scored a couple in Tottenham's 3-1 win over Nottingham Forest. Foden trying to bring a ball down wide on the right, couldn't quite do it, thought about hitting it cross with the right foot, and then the ball gets away from him. Over the byline it goes. Goal kick for Crystal Palace, 6 minutes in. Palace 0, Manchester City 0, but chances so far.
Yeah, and we spoke about Man City and what they like to do in terms of their full-backs going inverted and going into those kind of central areas, so no surprise to see kind of Crystal Palace kind of tweak their midfield system. Schlupp, Lokonga and just Milivojevic kind of sitting in front of that back four, and just looking at Jeffrey Schlupp when Man City have got possession, he looks like the man who's trying to get closest to Bernardo Silva, almost doing a man-to-man marking job on him, following him all around the pitch. So that central midfield area is going to be really important for Crystal Palace, because we know Man City like to dominate and build up through those areas of the pitch.
They're building up right now with Ruben Dias just crossing the halfway line. Bernardo Silva, Jeffrey Schlupp sticking to him. Bernardo Silva's got a big muddy smear already across the back of his shirt. Came on, of course, in the last game against Newcastle, and as soon as he came on for Kevin De Bruyne, found the space and scored the goal to make that game safe for Manchester City. Threats everywhere you look. Here's Akanji, powers his way down the right, gets away from Jordan Ayew, then stops and turns. He's about level with the edge of the Palace penalty area, rolls a pass back, it's beyond Foden. Zaha knocks it into Foden, and the ball goes out for a Crystal Palace throw.
I can actually remember playing in a Crystal Palace shirt away at the Etihad. Tony Pulis was actually the manager, and we was doing pretty well in the game, and he actually brought a player on to man-mark David Silva. And David Silva, he could not believe it. He wanted to actually go off the pitch. He was like, I cannot believe this. This isn't football. This isn't football. He was disgusted.
Let me play.
Needs must.
Lokonga, good turn and movement inside the Crystal Palace half. Not great control from Wilfried Zaha. Apologises. The pass was good, and he couldn't keep control. Pep Guardiola is out, and the hands are waving, and the head is nodding, and the mouth is moving very fast to get the instructions out there. Rodri bullets a low pass out to the left to Grealish. Grealish makes about 5 or 6 yards forward, plays back to Ake in midfield. Rodri across to John Stones. So John Stones has taken up position now in the midfield for Manchester City, and they sort of move to the back three of Ake, Akanji and Dias. Foden gets a bit lucky, ball bounces back to him, little back heel to Bernardo Silva. Cross comes in looking for Haaland, headed away from him by Anderson. Good defending. Here's Lokonga. Lokonga side puts his pass to Elise on the right. It's Elise against Ake in a one-on-one, and Ake is just jockeying for position at the moment. Elise tries to take it past him. Ake does well. Watch the ball, made the tackle, plays a little 1-2 with Rodri, and back it comes to Ruben Dias.
Yeah, but he is the one that Crystal Palace need to get on the ball. Obviously great to have Wilfried Zaha back fit. Elise, if they can get him on the ball on that right-hand side, running at Nathan Ake. He is a player with fantastic talent. Just need to get enough of the ball though, Crystal Palace, so that is going to be key on the turnover, because there is going to be long spells in this game where they don't see the ball, but when they do get it back, they have to be really precise with their passing, and can they get the ball into Elise and Zaha on the counter-attack?
Phil Foden's just taken a whack on the back of the legs there. Tyreek Mitchell was hounding him, trying to hound him out of possession inside the Manchester City half, and couldn't get the ball, and Foden thought about continuing, and actually it was a sore one. So down he goes, and the referee spotted it and gives Manchester City the free kick. Bernardo Silva now has the manager in his ear, so he's got to go out and relay the message to the rest of the team. We've played almost 10 minutes, and so far Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Manchester City, who drew one and lost one against Crystal Palace last season. Palace 2-0 winners at the Etihad, and the game finished 0-0 here at Selhurst Park. Miscontrol from Phil Foden, big cheer from the Palace fans, and it's a throw-in for the home team midway inside their own half on the left.
Yeah, Crystal Palace were actually 2-0 up after 21 minutes, I think it was.
Yeah.
Game earlier in the season, weren't able to hold on, and then Haaland announcing himself with his first hat-trick in the Premier League.
Here he goes again inside the box with the layoff back towards Grealish. It was between Gundogan and Grealish, neither of them could take it. Elise back doing some defending for his team. The rain has just eased in the meantime here in southeast London, and Anderson floats a lovely ball up to Zaha. Zaha challenged, has lost it. Manchester City have it again, but yes, then Erling Haaland turned on the style, scored 3 in 19 minutes, and currently stands on 33 goals in 34 games for Manchester City this season, although in the last 13 games has failed to score in 9 of them. So the goals came thick and fast at the start. They slowed up a little bit, but he did get a hat-trick against Wolves recently, so I don't think we're writing him off, are we?
He couldn't keep that up.
No, he couldn't keep that up.
He really
exactly.
couldn't. Six more goals than the whole of the Crystal Palace team as well.
That's right. Diaz's ball to Ake. Grealish with a first-time pass. Back to Diaz. Diaz just inside Crystal Palace territory. Wide to Ake on the left. Back to Diaz again. Rodri just jogs into position ahead of him. Diaz plays it back to Ake. Ake down the left to Grealish. Ake offers himself again. Grealish is there wide on the left. Ake gives it back to him. Very patient. Staying in one portion of the pitch at the moment. And then Ake plays it infield to Rodri, who looks to his right and sees space for Akanji. Akanji about 35 yards out. Quick ball to Gundogan. Let it through his legs looking for Haaland. Haaland's got in a tangle. In fact, those are bootlaces tangled there between Joachim Andersen and Erling Haaland. And both players sat down, and free kick's gone to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it was just a ball fizzed into the feet of Gundogan, and he just steps over it because Haaland's just behind him, but Anderson does well because he gets touch tight just on the edge of the 18-yard box and actually draws the foul himself in the end.
Could have been a three-legged race that, Danny, if they got up and carried on for the rest of the game like that.
You don't see that happen too often.
You really don't, do you? You really don't. Lace is now being tied very assiduously by the big Norwegian. Free kick Crystal Palace. Just over 12 minutes played. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Guéhi's ball forward, headed away by Akanji. Throw in for Palace inside the Manchester City half. Patrick Vieira is now out, having a word with his team. Former Manchester City player, of course, at the end of his career for 18 months or so, before going into coaching initially with them. Here's Guaita. Guaita to Guéhi in the left-back position. Tight spot for him. Knocks the ball into the legs of Silva and goes behind for a goal kick to Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and I think that is what has got better for Man City, I'd say, in recent games, the pressing. The ball just went back to Guaita today. He didn't really have anything on. Haaland was pressing. He plays a bit of an iffy ball to Guéhi, so straight off his first touch, Bernardo Silva's there, and he's got no options, nowhere really to play the ball. Press inside of Man City's game, which has been so good for so long. Hasn't quite been there, I'd say, at times this season, but certainly in recent games it looks like they've done some work maybe on the training ground on that side of the game and has got better.
Danny Gabardon with us at Selhurst Park. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Manchester City starting the day 5 points behind Arsenal. 12 games to go for the pair of them. Arsenal's next challenge away at Fulham tomorrow. Gundogan got a little nudge in the back there as he made a run to the edge of the box. Doesn't get the decision. He's sat down, arms splayed out wide. and can't believe he didn't get the free kick. Manchester City have the ball back. Ake turns just inside the Crystal Palace half. Here's John Stones in central midfield, plays back to Diaz. Diaz across to Akanji. Akanji to Bernardo Silva. And Silva deliciously just curls the ball back towards Ruben Diaz. One bounce, chests it down, and City will start again. Rodri drops deep between the centre backs, picks it up, side foots it towards Gundogan. Gundogan's just knocked ever so slightly off balance by Lokonga. No foul there. Gundogan plays back to Akanji. Gundogan was the one actually in the last game I saw Manchester City play when they went to Bournemouth and won so comfortably. Who really made it happen for them. Foden's lost it inside his own half. Elise moving forward sweetly towards Zaha, onto the left foot, hits the shot, well blocked by Akanji, and Akanji will chase that rebound but can't keep it in, throwing Crystal Palace.
Yeah, good defending from Akanji in the end, but excellent from Tyreek Mitchell, because when Foden picks that ball up and he's driving inside, he follows him all the way. He's touch tight, he's aggressive, wins the ball back, and that sets Palace up on the counter-attack. Elise into Zaha just on the left-hand side of the 18-yard box, looking to get a strike away on his left foot, but Akanji gets across and makes a really good block.
Throw in for Crystal Palace then, attacking position. It's about 9-10 yards up from the byline on the left. Left back Mitchell has the ball in both hands, looking for an option. Ayew comes running right under his nose, thrown in here down to the byline towards Lokonga. He's lost it. Manchester City have given it away. Jordan Ayew with a sharp turn finds Schlupp. Schlupp's crossed into the penalty area, headed down to the feet of Gundogan. Gundogan, good vision, floats it clear, looking for Foden. Foden can't get onto it. Ayew tries to chest the ball forward down. Gundogan's then caught by Ayew, and that will be a free kick for Manchester City.
Yeah, and that is what Crystal Palace need to do. Ayew gives away a foul there, a little bit too over-aggressive, but it's very easy to be passive against Man City, I would say, because a lot of teams, there's a reluctance to kind of press them. Palace are doing that. They're not really pressing the likes of Ruben Diaz, Akanji. They're sitting off kind of around the halfway line. It's very easy to kind of get passive and allow those balls to get played into those central areas, into the likes of Haaland, but when those balls are going into midfield, they have to be really aggressive and step onto Man City and try and win those balls back and counter-attack. Well,
they've done it again here. Erling Haaland this time has conceded a free kick. It was a ball forward into his feet. Haaland had dropped deep. It didn't reach him. Jordan Ayew had it, was about to bring it forward for Crystal Palace, and Haaland lunged in and has conceded the free kick. So that's the thing with Crystal Palace. I mentioned it, no wins in the last 10 games in all competitions, 5 draws and 5 defeats, loads of draws, but they just can't get the wins. They've drawn their last 4 home games in the Premier League against some good teams, against Manchester United, Newcastle, Brighton and Liverpool. So those in themselves are not terrible results. Elise's free kick into the Manchester City penalty area is chased by Guéhi, just too far for him, and behind it goes for a goal kick. They're just desperate to get that win, to score a few more goals and get that much needed win.
It is about kind of getting that balance right with Crystal Palace. I think, as I said, defensively been too bad. I think 7th best defence in the Premier League this season. That hasn't been too much of an issue, but it's been the other end, creating chances, shots on target, shots off target. It's been really poor from them, not enough goals.
Here come Manchester City. Grealish flying forward, trying to find Haaland. Pass is blocked. Ayew's there for Crystal Palace inside his own half. Lokonga to Zaha, turns it around the corner looking for Ayew. Akanji was there to intercept, gets Manchester City on the attack down the right with Bernardo Silva. He makes 5 yards forward and then comes back, and Manchester City slow it down. 18 minutes played in the first half. Radio 5 Sports Extra live from Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Grealish just running away from the likes of Elise and Nathaniel Klein. They're happy to let him go because he's now released the ball back into the City half. Akanji to Rodri. Rodri chased by Zaha, glides away from him just outside the area, finds Haaland, hits the shot hard. Good block on the shot by Guéhi, but immediately Manchester City come again. Ake to Silva, back to Ake. Ake out to the left to Grealish, lays it back to Ake again. Rodri calls for it and they work it back to Ruben Diaz.
Rodri there just skipping away from Zaha. He needs to do a little bit better than what we saw there. Skips past him and he's driving 20 yards towards the 18-yard box and the ball into Haaland, and they don't want to give him too many sides enough because the Palace body's back there in the end to make the block, but bit too much space in that midfield area.
Grealish, little ball to Ake on the left. Time to get that cross in. Can't find Haaland. Header clear, only as far as Ayew, just outside his own penalty area. Has to be careful. He's half tackled and the ball runs away from him. But back to his goalkeeper, Vicente Guaita, who is clad all in pink. And in terms of flesh, actually all you can see is his face, because it is bright pink jersey with a sort of pink underlayer, white gloves, pink shorts, pink leggings, pink socks, and white boots. Looks like one of those squashy sweets, actually, that my boys were eating in front of the telly last night.
Jelly baby.
That's right, exactly, yeah. Here's Ederson. Ederson, we can see his knees. He's in dark blue. Blue shirt, blue shorts, white socks. And he's played the ball out quite simply to Ruben Dias, who's taken it up to the halfway line. Milivojevic has come up there just with a little press and then goes chugging back into his midfield position. 25 minutes still to play in the first half. At half-time during the commentary, we'll join our colleagues over on 5 Live. They're bringing you commentary from Twickenham of England against France. France off to a flyer in that one. Here's Grealish, wide on the left. Klein's backpedaling. Elise's there to help. Grealish fizzes a pass back to Stones. Rolls it across to Akanji. Akanji takes one touch, slides it out to Foden. Foden down the right to Bernardo Silva. Attacking position, wide right for Manchester City. Just teasing Tyreek Mitchell at the moment. Tries to jump back onto his left foot. Mitchell's there, Schlupp's there, beg your pardon. Makes the tackle, throw in Manchester City.
Yeah, does a really good job, Leo Schlupp.
Ooh, throw from Silva. Saw the run of Rodri. Rodri was there, and then the first touch was heavy, and it ran away from him. Goal kick, Crystal Palace. Nice idea.
Just off the throw in, just making that run down the side of the 18-yard box. Rodri. Conga does a decent enough job of tracking the runs, and you have to do that against this Man City team. We know that they like to push those midfield players into those kind of wide areas down the side of the 18-yard box, and you have to track those runs. Lokonga doing so on that occasion.
Referee Robert Jones just gave the watch a little tap there, Danny, to say, come on, lads.
It's a bit early for time wasting.
It's a bit early for that. Vicente Guaita being given the old hurry up here. Drills it clear with his right foot. Rodri wins the header. Ayew goes down, rubbing the back of his head. Play continues. Dias has to chase the ball back inside his own half. Plays back to Ederson. Ayew's back on his feet and okay. So Ayew's wide left, Elise's wide right, and it's Zaha through the middle. And that ball from Stones to Rodri. Rodri quickly ships it on to Gundogan, just inside his own half. Haaland jogging into space in a central position ahead of him. Gundogan lays it back to Rodri. Rodri drags it to the left and plays a ball to Ake. Grealish pops up infield. Grealish turns on a sixpence, turns back again and finds Ake. Ake back to Dias, across to Akanji, making strides into the Palace half on the right. Foden off the right-hand touchline, tried to lay it off to Stones. It was intercepted. Here's Zaha. Zaha looking for support, gets it from Mitchell, and Phil Foden's desperately trying to win it back. Mitchell's ball down the left, intercepted by Akanji, and out for a throw into Crystal Palace.
They do have the players, Crystal Palace, to hurt Man City on the counter-attack. Plenty of athleticism, pace, trickery in those forward areas. Mitchell just looking to release Ayew down this left-hand side. It was a good interception by Akanji in the end.
Midway through the first half, still 0-0. Crystal Palace against Manchester City. Schlupp's there. Cross is blocked. Bernardo Silva dances into a volleyed clearance. Joachim Andersen volleys the ball back forwards. Mitchell can't keep it in play. Throwing Manchester City in the right back position, and then Mitchell does what so many footballers do. John Stones was about to take it out of his hands, and he just sort of offered it and then dropped it behind him. John Stones says thank you very much. Pep Guardiola's had a quick word with his centre forward Erling Haaland. Throw-in's been taken, and the ball is headed out of play for a Crystal Palace throw. Taken quickly by Mitchell, gets it straight back from Milivojevic. Ayew tries to find Mitchell again. Sliding interception from Foden's pass forward by Milivojevic. Throw in for Manchester City. 23.5 minutes gone. John Stones picks the ball up. Pep Guardiola still out there, wrapped up warm, gloves on, beanie hat on, thick black coat on, shiny black DMs, always look immaculate. And Akanji plays the ball back to his goalkeeper Ederson. Ederson trots out to the edge of his box, plays back to Akanji. Akanji's allowed to just bring it forward at walking pace here. Support from Silva on his right. Silva Back to Akanji. Akanji looks up and goes for the longer ball, looking for Gundogan over the top. It's in the air for a long time there, headed away by Lokonga. Side-footed pass back to Anderson, to Gehi. Goes back to Guaita. Guaita has time with his left foot, clears up towards the halfway line. Stones in to win the header. Schlupp on the half volley. Thumps it towards Zaha. Ayew then tries to release Zaha down the left, and the Palace fans, you heard the gasps of, oh, that almost got through, but Manchester City have it again. Ake wide to Grealish, deep inside his own half. Grealish picks it up and starts a familiar sort of diagonal run into the Palace half. Clips the ball out to Ake on the left. Ake to Rodri. Here's John Stones gets involved. Back it comes to Diaz, and Manchester City move forward as one now as they sweep up the field. Akanji infield to Stones, midway inside the Crystal Palace half. Across to Ake, 35 yards out now, looking up, looking for an option. Back to Rodri. Stones to his right. Rodri still has it. Can't thread that pass through the massed ranks of Palace defenders and midfielders. Akanji's cross in, looking for Haaland again. Anderson's there, has it covered. The ball hits Bernardo Silva on the back. Runs to Grealish. Grealish beats Elise. Looks for the 1-2. It falls to Silva. Silva stand up, cross towards Haaland again. Headed away from him, this time by Schlupp. Foden onto it for Manchester City. Chases the ball out. And City come back to the halfway line.
And just looking at the movements of Bernardo Silva, as we said, he's pretty much being man-to-man marked by Jeffrey Schlupp, and it's a difficult thing for both players. How does Bernardo Silva kind of free himself? Jeffrey Schlupp trying to follow him all over the pitch. He's actually, Kanji takes a shot on. He's actually gone over the left-hand side now just to try and get away from him.
Danny paused there for a second because he thought I was going to have to pick up and describe Akanji rifling one into the top corner from 25 yards. He's never scored for Manchester City, and he's not done it yet either, Danny. That was miles off target.
Not the best effort, but...
And 3 or 4 crosses now into Haaland, haven't they? Looking for him. He's trying to drop off the centre-backs, and they've covered it every time.
And it's a new option for Man City, with Haaland being in this team. It's something really that Man City have not been able to do.
That's a good ball. He's offside. Zaha in and away behind the Manchester City defence. Right idea. The flag goes up and Manchester City get the free kick.
Yeah, it just went too early there. But in the past, you see Man City get into wide areas, get to the byline, and it's very much kind of cutting the ball back. The players running onto things. But obviously with Haaland now coming into the team, he gives them that option of just standing the ball up. And they've tried that, Man City, on 2 or 3 occasions. But credit to Anderson and Gehi alongside it. They've been equal to every cross that's come into their 18-yard box so far.
Ball back here to Ruben Diaz. Diaz across to Nathan Ake. Possession heavily in Manchester City's favour, as you'd expect. Ball wide to Bernardo Silva. Silva level with the edge of the box on the left. Into Grealish, back to goal. He's able to turn and suddenly sees 3 Palace players in front of him. Holds them off. Turns a pass into the feet of Silva. Silva's covered by Lokonga. He's tackled, and that'll be a throw-in for Manchester City. Attacking position on the left. Just over 15 minutes to play in this first half here on Radio 5 Sports Extra. Grealish back to Ake. Ake to Rodri. 30 yards out, inside left channel. To Silva. Clever ball. Ake. Cross. Haaland. Oh, he's put it over the bar. Best chance of the game by a mile. Erling Haaland possibly surprised that the pass found him, but he's normally deadly from there. Lent back, and it's over the crossbar.
Yeah, should have scored. 5 or 6 yards out, central position. They work it brilliantly, Man City, from that left-hand side. I was just speaking about Bernardo Silva moving over that side to get away from Gehi. And he picks the ball up in a pocket of space, plays the ball into the path of Ake, who's free inside the 18-yard box, and he just squares it across the 6-yard box. Haaland times his run brilliantly, and just the connection's poor. He just needs to keep that down, and he scores. Somehow scoops that over the bar.
You do not see him do that very often at all. Very unusual for Erling Haaland, and he immediately looked up to the heavens, puffed out his cheeks and blew out a big sigh. He knows, and he will be fuming that he's missed that chance. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. But he probably also knows, playing for this team, that another one will come along.
That's exactly right. He'd be disappointed with that.
Yeah.
Waiting for the net to bulge, but brilliant move from Man City. How they just opened up that Crystal Palace defence.
Grealish, darting run forward. Haaland trying to lay it off to Gundogan. Difficult one for Haaland to control. Lokonga brings it out, runs into Ayew. Palace causing themselves a few problems here. Ayew wriggles out of a tight spot. Lokonga lays it off to Elise on the right. Ball played back to Joachim Andersen, edge of his own penalty area. Bernardo Silva chasing as hard as he can to close it down as the pass comes to Gehi. Miscontrol from Milivojevic. Roderic sees the opportunity, finds Gundogan. Gundogan forward to Haaland. Difficult angle for him. Haaland just holds off Gehi. Back to Grealish. Grealish running across the face of the penalty area, thinking about releasing the shot. Haaland stayed wide. Low ball into the near post. Guaita blocks. Haaland's there. Comes off him, goes right across the face of goal. No one there to tuck it away. Here's Foden. Foden plays back to Stones. Crystal Palace under real pressure at the moment. Still 0-0. Foden to Rodri. And Rodri away from Milivojevic. That's two from Milivojevic, both on Rodri in the last couple of minutes, and referee Robert Jones is going to have a word, and he's saying, I've let you get away with the first, not the second yellow card.
Yeah, a couple of poor moments there from Milivojevic. Firstly, ball getting played into him, gives the ball away, then he dives in, and they do well in the end to scramble bodies back Crystal Palace as that ball gets fired across the 6-yard box, and then silly foul from Milivojevic on Rodri, just kicks the back of the Achilles. Have no complaints really.
Milivojevic in that midfield because Cech Doucouré is suspended after the sending off against Aston Villa in the last game. Only a third Premier League start for Luka Milivojevic, who's been here a wee while now. Joined the club back in January 2017 when they were in trouble actually then. One of the signings made by Sam Allardyce that dug them out of it. Free kick for Manchester City. Gundogan's ball into the far post, headed straight at Guaita. Guaita's made the save. Another chance, offside, wouldn't have counted anyway. Assistant referee's flag was up. I think it was it Rodri at the far post who got the header in?
Yeah, Gundogan, excellent delivery into that far post. Rodri just goes early. As Anderson was the guy who's assigned to marking him. It's a good save from Guaita in the end, no more than 3 or 4 yards out when he's heading the ball, but just didn't time the run.
Erling Haaland whirling his right arm round and saying ref, as in, come on, get Crystal Palace to get the game moving a little bit quicker when it's their turn to restart it. They have now. Ayew's got John Stones behind him. Schlupp plays the ball forward. Akanji and Zaha in a wrestling match. Ayew and Stones having a little bit of off the ball, going eyeball to eyeball. Ayew didn't like something there, gave Stones a shove, and Stones then stood up and slightly towered over him. It's calmed down for now. Diagonal ball forward from Diaz, looking for Haaland, headed away by Gehi. Foden reacts quickly onto it, good first touch, little lay back to Haaland. Haaland drives the shot, Schlupp blocks it, and it runs to Milivojevic. Wants an option here, Milivojevic. Clips it forward with his left foot. Diaz clambering over the back of Wilfried Zaha and wins the free kick as the Crystal Palace man.
And he's going to have to do that this evening. Wilfried Zaha, not the strongest part of his game, being that kind of target man striker and trying to get hold of those long balls that come forward, and I'm not sure that was actually a foul. Diaz, yes, he is tight to him, there is contact, but I think he's very good at drawing the foul there, Zaha.
I mean, you'll know, Danny, because you've had to do that a million times. Diaz was sort of saying to the referee, I'm trying to win a header, I'm trying to get to the ball. Free kick's taken here. Zaha is onside, receives it inside the penalty, drives it with his right foot across goal. Well off target in the end, actually. Worth an effort. Might have been deflected on the way through. Yes, it was. Corner for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, well done, Crystal Palace. They take the quick free kick. Zaha with a clever movement in behind where he's much better, just running off the back of Akanji. Gets it down the side of that 18-yard box, and he turns back inside. Look at the bend one in that far corner, just clips off the left leg of John Stones there.
This is when the chairs on wheels work well in the commentary position here. There's a big pillar in the way, but you can slide to your left to see Elise deliver the corner into the far post. Headed up in the air, ball drops down. Grealish chases, Milivojevic nods it forward. Ake's there and just flicks it over his right shoulder and out for a throw-in to Crystal Palace. 12 minutes remaining in the first half. As I said at the start of the night, Arsenal, Premier League leaders, 5 points clear of Manchester City, away to Fulham tomorrow. But Manchester City know they have to win. Got to keep the pressure on, try and close the gap to 2. Bournemouth very nearly did them a favour against Arsenal last weekend. Arsenal fans will be listening to us this evening, hoping Crystal Palace can do them a favour. Fascinating title race at the moment. Throw in for Palace on the left. Still waiting for this to be taken. Referee gives it a blast on the whistle and says, come on, let's go. In it comes. Stones heads it away. Bernardo Silva doesn't jump for the next one. Akanji clears with his right foot. Comes back to Gehi. Gehi to Mitchell. Ayew on the left wing for Crystal Palace, tackled, throwing for the home team again. Taken quickly this time by Mitchell. Milivojevic scoops the ball down the left. Ayew will get to it, controls it. Rodri's there to cover it. Ayew tries to take it inside him, then takes a theatrical tumble. Never going to win a free kick like that. Clearance which Haaland will chase. Guéhi should just get there first, does. Haaland gives him a gentle push in the back, and Guéhi doesn't need any further encouragement. Free kick for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, it was a good race between the two. Both really quick plays. Just thought Haaland was going to put the afterburners on there, but so did Guéhi. He gets there first, and it's just an arm in the back of Haaland. Doesn't take much when you're running at that pace to send Guéhi over.
Just in terms of that title race, looking at the Premier League table at the start of this weekend, if Manchester City win all of their last 12 games, they would finish on 94 points, which would actually be one more point than they won the title with last season when they edged Liverpool by a point. They have still got Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea to come to them, and they've also got to go to Brighton. Diagonal ball out to Elise, wonderful control. Ake's there, tackles Elise, and actually Manchester City get the throw. Arsenal have got to go to Manchester City, go to Anfield, go to Newcastle, which is a problem for them at the end of last season, and they're at home against Brighton and Chelsea. It's so well balanced.
Yeah, it is, but they do have the capabilities of winning every single game. We've seen them do it before, Man City, and you just get the feeling now, they know exactly what they need to do. Arsenal not going to go away. There can't be too many more slip-ups from Man City, so they've been there, done them. They've got experienced players that have been in this situation, can handle the pressure, so we're going to start turning the screw now, and really we're going to see what this Arsenal team are made of now, I think, over the next few weeks. But I have to say Arsenal have been superb as well. Really surprised me this season how good they've been.
10 minutes remaining in this first half. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Haaland speeding down the middle of the pitch, always catches the eye. Hulking great figure in the number 9 shirt. Grealish has the ball at his feet, passes sideways to John Stones in the middle of the Crystal Palace half. Bernardo Silva lays it back to Akanji on the halfway line. Cross to Silva. Silva's first time ball to Diaz. Diaz wide left to Ake. Now Rodri 10 yards inside the Crystal Palace half. To his right to Stones, straight back to Rodri. Foden's just lurking here wide on the right, waiting to get involved. Might have a chance now. Bernardo Silva comes running towards him, plays it to Foden. Foden takes on Mitchell, beats Mitchell, gets past Ayew as well. Still going, tries to get the cut back, wins the corner.
Yeah, lovely feet, Phil Foden on his right hand side. Just flies past Tyke Mitchell, but good recovery pace from him to kind of get back, and he's got Schlupp in close attendance as well. He's not quite able to get that cross into the box, but great feet from Phil Foden there.
There's a little dart like that led to his goal against Newcastle last week. Just a shift of the ball from one foot to the other, and he was in between two defenders. Did it again here. Gundogan takes the corner. 8 minutes remaining in the first half. Holds his right arm in the air. Manchester City attacking the goal away to our right. Ball in, bounces once in the box. Grealish will get there first. Zaha will chase. Grealish side foots it back to Ake. Ake chips it back to Grealish wide on the left. It doesn't get to him quickly. Onto his right foot, away from Milivojevic. Fouled by Zaha. No, referee shakes his head. Rodri now challenged by Zaha. Manchester City still have it. Cross to Foden, 40 yards out. High floated ball in towards Ruben Diaz. Header is won by Joachim Andersen. Manchester City have another corner.
They've dominated possession, Man City, as you would expect, but I think on the whole, from a defensive point of view, Patrick Vieira will be fairly pleased with how his team has kind of protected his goalkeeper. Only the one real big chance, the Rodri strike, which forced a really good save from Guaita. There has been one or two moments on the counter-attack for Crystal Palace as well.
Corner this time from the left. Gundogan took the one from the right. Phil Foden's going to take the one from the left in front of the Homestale Road end. This is high and deep. Stones heads it back across goal. Cleared for now. Grealish out to Foden. Space for Foden inside the area. Looks for the cutback. Guéhi's there to clear. Haaland was waiting. Rodri was waiting. Akanji was waiting. And he couldn't find any of them. Still the best chance of the game so far. Fell to Haaland, which is side-footed over the bar from 6 yards out. Jordan Ayew's won Crystal Palace a free kick.
Should have done better there. The touch from Foden to kind of just skip by Ayew was sensational. And he's got numbers in the box, and it's not often you don't see him kind of pick a man out, but just chose the wrong option on that occasion. But it's just brilliant skill again as the ball comes out to him. Ayew just thinks he can kind of get to the ball and the touch to just go past him is brilliant. Just the final ball in the end.
Was there an argument to possibly shoot there as well?
Yeah,
Danny,
quite possibly. Yeah, it was a tightish angle, but the ability that he has, I just think he's that kind of player as well, isn't he? He'd rather kind of set a teammate up rather than score himself.
It was Bergkamp. Bergkamp always said that. Got more joy out of an assist than he did of actually scoring goals. Foden has 4 in his last 3, so he can score them as well. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Just over 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Grealish down the left-hand touchline to Bernardo Silva. Little step over from him. Pass back to Grealish. Grealish fancies taking Lokonga on. Brings him infield. Finds Gundogan. Gundogan to Ake. Ake out to the left to Bernardo Silva. Little dink ball back to Ake. Had to be quick to shovel it back to Ruben Dias. Forward to Rodri. Just inside the centre circle, inside the Palace half. Across to his right to Akanji. See Haaland jockeying for position again inside the box, and Palace defenders very carefully keeping an eye on him. The ball's with Ruben Dias in the middle of the Crystal Palace half to Ake. Ake can't see a route forward, turns, plays back to Dias. Dias again just creeping forward to Grealish. Grealish, little ball to Bernardo Silva, trick from Bernardo Silva, caught by Michael Olise. Free kick, Manchester City 35 yards out, and then Bernardo Silva gets up and shoves Milivojevic in the shoulder and says, how dare you.
Yeah, you need to be careful, Crystal Palace, the amount of fouls they're kind of giving away, but you have to be that way a little bit as well. As I said, you can't be passive in those central midfield areas when Man City are looking to pass and probe and get bodies into those kind of pockets of space. When the ball goes in there, you have to be aggressive, you have to get touch tight, you need to try and go win the ball on occasions, otherwise the quality that they have, they just play around you, so it's a fine balance.
Free kick's quite central here, so interesting to see how Manchester City can get the angle on it to try and provide decent delivery. Gundogan steps over it. Foden with his left foot aims it towards the far post. Ayew is there. Little back header. Ayew then alert to chase that header out to the left-hand touchline, right down by the corner flag. Oh no, oh, hang on. I thought it had gone behind for a corner. So did Akanji and Stones, but it's actually been given as a goal kick. Assistant referee was right there, so he must have seen. And actually, Ayew walked off very confidently. I don't know who got a touch there, though, Danny.
Oh, it looked like a corner to me.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
He's trodden on the ball with his right foot, stabbed it with his left, so both touches were from him.
Yeah, Akanji just has a little go at it at the end, but he doesn't get anything on it. He goes over the line for a corner. Should have just cleared it first time. Ayew controlled the ball and then he was under pressure, and I'm not quite sure he was trying to do this. It's a definite corner.
I don't know what he was trying to do. Remarkable miss from the assistant referee right under his nose there. Guardiola nonplussed, I would say. Looking at the close-up there. Foden heads the ball forward, but Guéhi speeds across to clear. Akanji volleys it out. Pep Guardiola applauds his centre-back. Throw in for Crystal Palace. So 3 minutes remaining to half-time. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. At half-time, we'll be over to Twickenham, and you'll get 14-15 minutes or so of commentary of the Six Nations game between England and France, and then Danny and I will be back for the second half of this one in the Premier League. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. The ball's hit Bernardo Silva in the hand. Crystal Palace get a throw. There was another one of those earlier in the game, actually, which was a Ruben Dias handball, and advantage was played. I mean, nothing Bernardo Silva could do about it. He was so close to him. Guéhi plays back to Joachim Andersen inside his own half. Hopeful ball down the left. Stones heads it away. Milivojevic nods it forward. Schlupp's header towards Ayew. Falls for Stones. He lets it bounce. Ooh, Haaland wrestling with Guéhi on the halfway line. Has caught Guéhi in the face with his right arm. The two of them were wrestling and jostling. Haaland's arm came out. Guéhi was definitely caught. Referee has seen it. The VAR will have a look. Let's see what happens. Danny Gabardon, how did you see that one?
He does catch him. I think this will probably be a yellow card, because that ball's hooked forward from Stones. He's just trying to get really tight and aggressive with Haaland, Guéhi, and it's more that right arm kind of trying to protect himself a little bit and hold Guéhi off, and he almost catches him more around the neck area, would you say?
Yeah, he's setting himself, isn't he, Danny? That's what he's doing. He's trying to get strong and pin.
Yeah, he's trying to pin Guéhi and just catches him around the kind of side of the face, throat area.
And actually, I think because he sort of jutted the arm out quickly, it looked like a swing, but it wasn't a swing. Haaland's going to get booed. Did he get booked? I don't think he got booked, did he? No, he didn't. Gundogan's ball forward. Haaland will chase, can't get that into the arms of Guaita. So Right decision, I think. I mean, Palace fans don't
like yellow
it.
either.
No,
I don't think that's a yellow.
No.
It's unintentional, as you say. He's just trying to pin the defender there and then hold the ball up, and yeah, he's also trying to get really tight and aggressive with him, and just that right arm comes across and he almost walks into it, Gearhey, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Haaland will get plenty of those in the season. Arms in the face, well, won't he? Here's Zaha. Zaha tackled by Akanji. Palace fans howl free kick. This time Robert Jones, the referee, agrees. Free kick in a good attacking position as well. Wide on the left, just about level with the edge of the Manchester City penalty area. Chance to put City under pressure late in the first half.
Yeah, so good at that, Wilfred Zaha, drawing fouls. He's so strong in possession. Akanji there's no need for him to have a little swipe. He's going nowhere, back to goal, going towards the touchline. Just hold him up. He just can't resist, has a little nibble, a little swipe at the ball, catches the back of his Achilles there.
No wins in the last 10 games for Crystal Palace, no wins in the calendar year of 2023. Last win at Bournemouth on New Year's Eve. Free kick for them wide on the left. Elise's ball in, headed away by Ruben Dias. Here's Lokonga on the right. Right to Milivojevic. Cross comes in with the left foot. Foden is there. Foden volleys it away. Ball is dropping inside the Manchester City half. Grealish sort of backheels it on the volley towards Rodri. And it's eventually gone out for a Crystal Palace throw. And we've got, I don't know how much added time at the end of the first half, because I didn't see the ball go up and I didn't hear the announcement either, but I don't think there'll be too much of it. We've not had too many stoppages in the first half. We've had no goals either.
Crystal Palace will be fairly pleased with how they defended. There has been one or two scary moments. You would expect that against the quality of Man City, but it's about how they can affect the game a bit more in the attacking third, I think, which is so difficult when you're not seeing that much of the ball. There has been 2 or 3 counter-attack opportunities with Crystal Palace in the first half, but no end product.
It was 1 minute of added time and we've played it. Half-time whistle blows. Pep Guardiola goes jogging down a muddy touchline at Selhurst Park, and he, like Erling Haaland, is probably thinking, how on earth aren't we 1-0 up? Haaland, goal scorer supreme, 6 yards out, perfect ball to him from Nathan Ake, leant back and knocked it over the crossbar. There was the Guaita save from Rodri's volley early on. Manchester City have had all the possession. They won't be too concerned at this point in time, will they, Danny Gabardon?
I don't think so. You look at Man City, and if they continue to play the way that they are, they'll feel that the goal will come at some point. So often we see Man City with the second half of games, they just wear teams down. Someone kind of switches off and then the opening presents himself, and the quality that they have, it's in the back of the net, and suddenly then it goes 2 or 3. So they'll continue to play the same way. From Crystal Palace point of view, it's about sticking to the game plan. Can they still frustrate Man City, be organised defensively, and then can they get the likes of Zaha and Elise into the game a little bit more? We probably haven't seen enough of them on the ball in those dangerous areas of the pitch, but it's so difficult against this Man City team.
Yeah, we said it at the start of the game. Crystal Palace in Pep Guardiola's time have caused Manchester City problems. That a tense, tight tussle in the first 45 minutes. Subs are out and warming up. Half-time, Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Danny Gabardon and I will be back for full second half commentary of this one in the Premier League. For the time being, we're going to take you over to BBC Radio 5 Live, our coverage of the Six Nations live at Twickenham, England against France. Katie Daly-McLean is touchside, Paul Grayson and Matt Dawson alongside Chris Jones for commentary.
They won a penalty from the scrum, they tapped a wide ball and Farrell wants it from the wants a fresh ball. He's got it, he'll stick it into the corner. As you know, Owen Farrell, this is going to hurt him, isn't it? Such a competitor. The beating heart of this England team for 11 years. He belts into the corner with a scowl on his face.
Hurts us all, Chris, to be honest. We're all invested in it. We all want to see England do well. We've all turned up today thinking, right, France are in town. England will be absolutely on their toes, full of anxiety, which you channel and you turn into huge performances, even if they weren't to win the game. But they've been absolutely blown away today. They'll be gutted, the players. We feel the same way. It's hard to put your finger on why they've fallen so far.
England have the lineup, but they threw long, and then it was lost by a combination with Tojen Ludlam. Maxime Lucu is on for Dupont. He kicks long. They all kick long. The French, massive boots on the number 9s. Stewart runs it back. There for Mitchell. What do England have? They've got Curry at first receiver, who just crashes into That's Makalou, who's on in the back row. What an athlete he is. He can play in the back line as well as the back row. Can the Stade Francais player. England are getting very slow ball just outside the 22. Now what have they kind of got in terms of their shape? It's George popping onto Makavinapola, who's on at loose head into the final 10. Relief for some England fans that there's not long left to go. England 10, France 41 at Selhurst Park, with our team there for Crystal Palace against Manchester City shortly. The ball's been turned over. Timotiev finds Luku. They're always looking to offload the French, aren't they? Scooped up by Ntamak. Up against Farrell, out the back it comes, nicely done. Ramos finds Fickou. Fickou kicks, asking Penaud to chase, and Penaud's going to skin Dombrandt here, and he has, and he's got round Dombrandt, and Penaud's going to score in the corner. Oh, it's going to bad to worse for England, and from great to magnificent for France.
I mean, just wind it back a little bit, and Ntamak scooped the ball up in the backfield. It was scrappy on his own, only 10-metre line, and ordinarily you thought he was going for the quick counter cut. Took a head up and went face to face, eyeball to eyeball on Owen Farrell, as if to say, come on man, what you got? Quick fend, power fend to the chest. Owen Farrell went at him again and delivered the most beautiful out the back right-handed shift into the midfield, and then it was crossfield kick, easy strolling for the winger.
That's right in front of you, Katie, that skill for Ntamak, and then the kick for Penaud.
Yeah, it really was. The French bench are on their feet, whooping and hollering up from that little pass. It was lovely. But what's really interesting, Chris, is Twickenham is starting to empty. Fans are leaving down the stands, and quite a lot of the fans are starting to go. There's a lot of noise, but it's all from them bottom corners where you can see the French flags waving. The noise is coming from France, and England fans are leaving Twickenham.
Okay, 20 seconds.
Yeah, and all that kind of feel-good optimism about the start of the Borthwick regime crashing down to earth as Ramos, I think he's missed today, has he? 48-10. And it has to be said, not that it'll make any pleasant listening for England supporters that are listening, that is the most points England have conceded ever at home. Again, Ross Petty with the stats. The last time was 42 points against South Africa in 08. Here they've conceded 48. Never have England conceded this many points at Twickenham in history.
Yeah, that's not something you want to be particularly proud of, and having been in that position of being in a losing side down in New Zealand and Australia, it can have some long-term effect. That is for sure.
Well, France have won a penalty. They're going to get 50 here, aren't they? Well, I say that they missed their touch. Let's go to half-time at Selhurst Park with Henry Moran.
Goalless between Crystal Palace and Manchester City. A game of few chances, the best of which falling to Erling Haaland for City, spooning over from the edge of the 6-yard box. Pretty quiet other than that. Half-time, Palace 0, City 0.
Yeah, we'll be with Henry and the team, Ali Bruce Ball, Danny Gabardon. We'll be with them for the second half after we've wrapped up this and pick the bones out of it for a few minutes. Remember, Rugby Union Daily podcast is coming a few hours after full time. Paul and Matt will gather their thoughts, although both of them are looking on fairly forlornly as France, through their replacement Hooker Malvaka, thrown into the line out, and they're just full of wit and invention here, France, aren't they? Another little ball, Ramos, lovely play. De Mortier out to Penaud in the goal. This is just sublime. This is rugby from the gods from France. Penaud's got another one, and they've smashed 50.
Clean kill, untouched. I say they're full of invention. They've done everything right. Their detail is exceptional. It's a tiny little thing earlier on, but Alex Mitchell got caught in his own 22 because he rolled the ball back in a ruck with his hand, not his foot. France don't jump to get him by accident. That is the level of detail they're operating with, and then they've played away from first phase. Two slick passes, a quick pair of hands, early delivery from Jaminet out to Penaud, untouched in the corner. It is they're a high functioning team.
I know that there are plenty of England fans leaving, but there shouldn't be. we should be watching this French side, because this is that's special. That I mean, I'm hurting, properly hurting. I'm sick in my stomach. But my goodness me, it's fabulous to watch rugby like that. That's really, really special. But from an England perspective, this is what's the long-term effect? Let's not forget next week they're going away to the best team in the world. Wow.
I mean, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Because we often, rugby. There's times when the rugby can be great, sometimes when it's not good. You can see turgid stuff. We've seen some magnificent rugby from France. That does have to be celebrated, albeit the England performance lamented. Ramos for once misses the kick, but it's 53-10 to France. They've scored 7. That may have been the pick of the bunch, although the try in the first try from Ramos was special as well. The French replacements are making a difference. Luku looks sharp at 9. The shape they're throwing at England in attack, and no wonder their coaches box, including the former World Cup final referee Jerome Garces, Sean Edwards, Rafa Ibanez, Fabien Galtier et al. They were extremely satisfied with that one, and as you would be, winning at Twickenham is special. Winning by 53 points to 10 is beyond wildest dream stuff. England 10, France 53, 3 minutes left of England's purgatory. Smith now, he's going to run with the ball, which fans wanted to see him do it a bit earlier, and he's got past a couple, finds Ludlam. Onto the halfway line go England. Mitchell comes to the left, and as you say, Matt Dawson, Smith's now made a break. It's a shame it's happening at this stage of the game with the scoreboard like that, but still a good sight for England fans. England go through the guts. They've got numbers to the right and the left. Mitchell snipes to the left, taken out by Moefana, but England are only 6 or 7 metres away as the clock ticks towards the 78-minute mark. Out to Jack Walker, the replacement hooker, who's winning his 3rd cap, the Harlequin. There for Mitchell, who's caught. Ludlam manages to tidy it up. England have a penalty advantage. Mitchell finds Farrell. Farrell double pumps to Anthony Watson, who shows some footwork. And I imagine France will be keen to keep England out just to end the game on a high and almost complete a 10 out of 10 performance.
That French side have got Sean Edwards rattling around in their ear. No tries, minimal tries. Defend, hit the beach, whatever it takes. They've got to focus. I tell you for one thing, England score a try here, they better not celebrate.
Mitchell comes to the left, finds Walker. England are 5 out. We have 90 seconds left as Mitchell snipes. He couldn't be much closer, could he? A couple of metres. In goes Aldritz, who's been everywhere today. England can just surely score on the left if they use it. No, the tackling is coming in. England are up to the line, they're held up, so we'll go back for the penalty advantage. England ending the game. And if you're just joining us on 5 Live and you think England 5 metres out with 40 seconds to go, is this a match with defining moment? No, they're 53-10 down. It's an unprecedented, remarkable, unfathomable scoreline. England 10, France 53, 79 minutes gone. England do have the ball in French territory. Makavanapola pops and England knock it on, which kind of sums it up. And France with the scrum. Let's go down to UKT on the touchline, where you're surrounded by a delirious French bench.
Yeah, I really am. Everybody's on their feet. The social media, cameras, everything's waiting for this final whistle to really mark this occasion for France. And the energy that you're getting from the bench is huge. It's amazing just to be here and watch it.
Yeah, conversely, you look at the England bench.
Time's off.
No one around. Probably, some in subs tracksuits, some not. Chin sort of hitting the floor in disappointment, a gasp of what England have delivered today. I mean, unfortunately, there are just no excuses. No excuses. From the off, England have not been at the races.
Okay, time on.
And it started after a couple of minutes, didn't it, Grace? That try from France, what was it, 3 minutes out the traps, and they've not looked back. The South Africa game was bad in the autumn, but this is almost another level, because England have been dominated up front and carved apart.
Yeah, the full package. They've been exposed right across the field. almost every facet of the game. Speed of thought, speed of deed, power, technical ability. It's been a lesson from France, and we talked in the week. I'd persuaded myself that actually England are due a big performance at home against France is going to be it. And I'm kicking myself because it's just a bad call. If you actually look at the reality of where the two teams are, it was going to take a superhuman effort from England to get on the coattails of France. This is, if you went through it, this is the difference in the two teams writ large.
Yeah. Magnified, blown, completely blown up.
It's like, right, let's have a forensic look at how good they are and how ordinary we are at the moment.
Yeah, 3 years in the making, one that's changed regime, changed all their backroom coaches. Grace, you're not alone. I thought England had a chance today, and I backed Italy to beat Wales. Wales winning 29-17, so
fish and chips for you tonight then.
Well, France have belted it out, and they celebrate. Not wild celebrations. This is the France side that are going places. We know that. They've won the Grand Slam. They've won at Twickenham now. They've got their home World Cup coming up. It's an almighty statement from the French. It's a desperate day for English rugby. England 10, France 53. A record defeat on home soil. And with Ireland in Dublin next weekend, where do England go from here? It's been a pleasure to watch France, but a miserable experience for these England fans, Matt Dawson.
Well, that's the story from Twickenham over on BBC Radio 5 Live. Big win for France against England by 53 points to 10. No goals as yet here at Selhurst Park. Welcome back to South East London on Radio 5 Sports Extra. I know our listeners on 5 Live will be joining us shortly for second half commentary of Crystal Palace against Manchester City. I'm Alistair Bruce Ball in the company of Danny Gabbidon, former Welsh international, former Crystal Palace player and Cardiff City player and West Ham United player as well at the top level. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Best chance of the first half, if you hadn't heard, was Erling Haaland unfathomably shooting over from about 6 yards out. He's still shaking his head actually, Danny. I think it's still bothering him.
And he's got another 45 minutes to put that right, and I'm sure he's going to get 1 or 2 more opportunities in the second half, but very unlike him. 5 or 6 yards out, central of the goal. It's a tapping really for him. You've seen some of the brilliant goals he scored this season.
Yeah.
So, but player of his quality, he's not going to let that affect his game too much. He'll be ready for the next one, I'm sure.
Second half is underway. Crystal Palace, red and blue vertical stripes, blue shorts, blue socks with the red tops, playing from left to right towards that passionate, noisy Holmesdale Road end, if you know your Selhurst Park. We are underneath the roof here in our commentary position, and Manchester City in change kit in that very sort of light lime green with the thick dark blue bands across the front of the kit, blue shorts and the lime green socks. And they are playing from right to left, and a loose ball out from Manuel Akanji is not intercepted by Michael Elise, and Nathan Ake, like a 100-metre runner, is pumping his arms here and running forward with the ball down the left. Grealish tackled by Elise, throw in for Manchester City, who started today 5 points behind Arsenal, the Premier League leaders. Guaita in goal for Palace. Klein, Anderson, Gahey and Mitchell, the back four. Doucouré out suspended today. Milivojevic into the midfield. He's on a yellow card. Albert Sambi Lokonga in there with Jeffrey Schlupp, who's coming to the team as well. Jordan Ayew, Michael Elise and Wilfred Zaha are Crystal Palace's attacking trident. And Manchester City have Ederson in goal. John Stones back after 8 games away at right back, but often popping up in midfield. Akanji, Diaz and Ake make up the back four. Here is Ake on the ball, 25 yards out, little pass in field to Rodri. Rodri looking for Grealish on the left, can't find him. Nathaniel Klein wins it for Crystal Palace. So Rodri and Gundogan alongside each other in midfield. Kevin De Bruyne is on the bench. Bernardo Silva has started this one. Foden and Grealish the wide men, and Erling Haaland through the middle. Gundogan, Shaw first touch, but immediately Lokonga is breathing down his neck. Rodri plays it to his right, and here's Stones. Stones runs forward, checks his run, plays it to Rodri. Central position, 30 yards out, and lays it back here to John Stones again. Stones, a lithe, tall figure in the Manchester City midfield. Wide to Ake, and the pattern of the second half very similar to the first so far. Manchester City seeing lots of the ball. Can they break Crystal Palace down?
Yeah, you'd feel if this pattern continues for the length of this second half, at some point Man City will get a goal. Crystal Palace point of view, It's about being stubborn, resolute as they were in the first half and making a bit more of the limited counter-attacks they're going to get.
Rodri's cross in. John Stones wins a header after the clearing header. Grealish nods it down. Joachim Andersen side foots a pass towards Nathaniel Klein. Klein up towards Zaha. Not enough on the pass. And John Stones runs in to intercept. Akanji plays forward to Rodri. Rodri, nice little touch. Moves into the Palace half. Looking for Ake. Nathan Ake brought down, clumsy challenge, edge of the Crystal Palace penalty area. Second half just underway. 3 minutes gone in the second half on 5 Live and Radio 5 Sports Extra. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Best chance of the game in the first half fell to you-know-who Erling Haaland. Somehow side-footed it over from 6 yards out. Lots of Manchester City possession in the early stages of the second half as well. And Vicente Guaita may well be tested here from the free kick. Manchester City starting the weekend 5 points behind Arsenal, the Premier League leaders. If they can win this one, they're within 2 points. Arsenal away at Fulham tomorrow. What can Manchester City conjure up? Robert Jones, the referee, gets ready to blow the whistle. You heard it there. Foden with his left foot, curling ball into the far post. It'll clip back. He's looking for Ruben Dias. It goes behind, and that's a corner for Manchester City. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Danny Gabidon.
Foden just opting to float that free kick to the far post. Thought Gundogan might have gone for goal. It was the right side for a right footer, but he just floats it to that far post, and Kanji looking to play a ball back across the 6-yard box first time, forces a corner.
Corner will come in from the right-hand side. Ilkay Gundogan, slightly shielded from our view at the moment, but can see both arms in the air, and he's floating it deep towards the far post. Stones gets up, climbs well, but it just clears him. Grealish sprints over wide left and collects it, plays it to Rodri. Rodri diagonal ball to the other corner of the penalty area. Gundogan's cross in. Joachim Andersen has won some important headers. There's another one. Bernardo Silva heads it towards Stones. Stones nods it forward. Can't find Ruben Dias. Elise with a little flick on. Zaha cushions a nice ball here to Jordan Ayew. Palace fans getting excited as they contemplate a counter-attack, but Manchester City back in numbers quickly to shut it down. Guéhi, nice diagonal ball out to the right. That gets applause from the home fans as well. Klein, little sideways pass in midfield to Lokonga. Lokonga claims he was fouled. Robert Jones agrees, blows the whistle, and that'll be a free kick for Crystal Palace. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Palace 0, Manchester City 0.
A little tug on the shirt there from Rodri on Lokonga. Draws the foul, but they have to be able to do that, Crystal Palace. Initially winning the ball back, looks like a counter-attack might be on. Man City shut that down, so then Palace have to show the ability to be composed in possession and get 2 or 3 passes in to get the team up the field.
Schlupp chests the ball down, tries to bring it forward. Tackled. Palace fans appealing for a free kick. Nothing doing, and Ederson with the ball at his feet. In dark blue colours away to our right. White socks, and those are grey boots with sort of pink colouring. Plays the ball out, and Ruben Dias is just walking forward step by step with the ball at his feet. Zaha then stretches as if to make a challenge, and Akanji eventually plays it back to Ederson. We were saying in the first half that Crystal Palace in Pep Guardiola's time have certainly caused Manchester City some problems. City dropped 4 points against them last season, lost 2-0 at home at the Etihad, drew 0-0 here. This one's 0-0 at the moment. Manchester City know they can't afford to drop too many more points in this title race. Foden tries to take it past Mitchell, sticks to his task well. Double tackle on Foden, and it goes out for a Manchester City throw.
Yeah, one of the best defensive fullbacks in the Premier League. Tyreek Mitchell, difficult player to get past. Lovely touch from Foden to bring it down, but he's right there, Mitchell.
Rodri's found a lot of space from the throw, hooks across back to the penalty spot. Lokonga heads it away. Ayew's got to be careful here. Good first touch, turns away from Bernardo Silva, plays the ball downfield. Absolutely no one there for Crystal Palace. That could be a problem.
Well, it's going to happen though.
Yeah,
it is going to happen. I'm just looking at Wilfred Zaha just showing his frustration. He can't get frustrated with that, because at times that is going to happen. You know, Man City, they pen you in, you win the ball back, there's no real options. Sometimes you just got to play it down the line to nobody.
One of those games. Manchester City seeing all of the ball, pushing and pressing and looking for a breakthrough. Crystal Palace at the moment holding them off, and Arsenal fans will be delighted that they're doing so. Patrick Vieira at the moment doing his whole club a little bit of a favour. Plenty of time to go in the second half though. Ayu's won a good few free kicks for Crystal Palace. He's won another one here. Manchester City getting frustrated about the delay to the restart of the game. Bernardo Silva wrestles the ball off Ayew, throws it back here to Guéhi, who will take the free kick for Crystal Palace. 7.5 minutes gone in the second half, and it's chipped forward down that left towards Ayew, headed away by Stones. Foden lobs one back to Akanji, play to Rodri. Rodri saw the challenge of Ayew coming, he rides it and finds Ake inside his own half. Kevin De Bruyne waiting in the wings, sitting on the bench for Manchester City, as are the likes of Julian Alvarez and Riyad Mahrez, if further firepower is required to try and find a way through. Diaz creeping into Palace territory, slow ball to his left finds Ake, out wide to Grealish. Nathaniel Klein's in his way, Elise's there to help. Grealish just teasing Elise at the moment, ducks inside, gets away from him. Elise just tries to drag him back. He's running across the face of the Palace penalty area, doesn't see an avenue through, plays it back to Stones. Stones to Diaz and across to Ake. Ake to Rodri. First time pass from Rodri back into Diaz. They're just trying to pull Palace apart at the moment, and it's not working. Palace won't budge. Here's Diaz. Diaz, low pass out to his left to Bernardo Silva. Silva scampering infield from the left. Back to Diaz, wide to Grealish. Grealish gets a one-on-one, takes it, looking for the 1-2 edge of the box. Challenge on him, he's knocked off balance, but his pass doesn't find its target. Ayew just chips a little ball out of defence. Rodri intercepts it. Akanji brings it forward, looks for the pass into Grealish. Grealish being dragged back edge of the box, goes down, wins a free kick right on the edge of the penalty area, and Jack Grealish turns to the referee, Robert Jones, and says, I'm in the box. That foul was in the box, and suddenly both sets of players surround the referee. Danny Gabidon.
Yeah, I thought it was just on the edge, but we're going to see it again. It was Ayew initially giving the ball away. The ball gets just played into Grealish, and he gets caught the wrong side, Milivojevic, and he's just tugging on the back of Jack Grealish there on the edge. Well, yeah, he kind of continues into the box, but I think initial contact, start of the foul, possibly outside.
You can see exactly as you say, Danny. He knows he's lost Grealish, he knows he's in trouble, and he grabs him around the waist, almost as if he's going to try and flip him around and turn him around to face him. Probably lets go just in time, but Grealish's momentum took him into the area. The foul started outside.
Yeah, dangerous position this, maybe too close. Whoever takes this free kick to get it up and over the wall, it is right on the edge of that 18-yard box, just right of central.
Phil Foden's got 4 goals in his last 3 games. He looks confident. Ruben Diaz seems to be giving him a lecture on free kick taking at the moment. I'm not sure Phil Foden necessarily needs that unless it's something they've worked on. Gundogan I've seen hit the odd little floater actually from this sort of position before. He's there. Grealish is there as well. The Palace got the old draft excluder on the go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players all lined up, but no one lying behind the wall at the moment. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Pressure is building on the home team without a win in their last 10 games in all competitions. Free kick is right in the D. It's right on the edge of the penalty area. Will it be Foden or will it be Gundogan? Foden wipes his nose and just stares at the Manchester City wall, which has been set up by the attacking team, which is just ahead and just to the right of the Crystal Palace wall. Cheers and whistles from the Palace fans. Big moment in the game. Guaita again, right by his left-hand post, just making sure he's got the wall in the right position, the angle's right, and he's going to stand away to the right-hand side. So he's going to say, if you beat me on the wall side, I just need the wall to do its job. I'm going to stay to the right. Here's Foden, drives it, Guaita makes the save. Guaita was standing stock still in that position on the right. Foden went for power, couldn't beat him.
Yeah, decent strike, decent save. He actually goes the side that the keeper's standing, Guaita. That's where the 3 or 4 Man City players were kind of lined up on the side of that Palace wall, and drills the strike really well. Good save from Guaita and punches it away from danger. Good goalkeeping.
Julian Alvarez, Argentine World Cup winner, is going to be on the pitch shortly, getting instructions from Pep Guardiola. John Stones in space on the right. Takes the ball out to the touchline, thought about an early cross, decided against it, plays back to Akanji, 35 yards out in the inside right channel. You can hear Selhurst Park having successfully defended that free kick. is in full voice again. Rodri plays the ball wide to Grealish. So much concentration required for Crystal Palace here to try and keep Manchester City at bay. Stones gets it from Akanji. Stones doing that thing from the right back position when City have the ball playing in midfield. Pass forward to Grealish, stretches out a right leg. Guaita then comes rushing out, slides across the byline and collects it for Crystal Palace. 12 minutes gone, second half, 0-0.
Yeah, it does well, Nathaniel Clyne. Tracks the run, Jack Grealish. First time we've really seen Jack Grealish do that, kind of try and make that run in behind, in between full-back and centre-back. A lot of the possession that he's had has been out on his left-hand side and playing in front of that Crystal Palace back forward. Like to see him do that a little bit more from that left side, just making those darting runs in behind.
Julian Alvarez comes on for Phil Foden. Bernardo Silva is now further to the right. Alvarez sort of up alongside Haaland or in behind him. And Vicente Guaita starts the game again and plays the ball out to Guehi. So that's the first change for Manchester City. Phil Foden, who's been in good goal-scoring form, won't get one tonight. He is off. And Julian Alvarez is on. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Just watching a replay of the free kick. Guaita trusted himself, stayed still, waited for the Manchester City wall to break. They ducked out of the way and the shot came straight at him. Rodri, edge of the box, tries to side foot one towards the bottom corner. Anderson gets the long barrier down, goes on one knee as if he's fielding on the boundary there and blocks it with his leg. Klein plays the ball up to Zaha, good turn away from Ruben Dias. Free kick Crystal Palace and a yellow card for Ruben Dias.
And a much better service into the feet of Wilfried Zaha. Just flicks it around the corner. He's just looking to power away from Diaz and he just sells himself. Simple foul to give away. Was good goalkeeping from Guaita, because you see a lot of goalkeepers in that situation try and read where the free kick's going to go, and you see them step to the left thinking it's maybe going to go over the wall. It goes to the other side and then they're not able to readjust and get back the other way. But as you say, ABB just trusted his wall to do the job if it was going to go that way.
Just over half an hour to play. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Earlier on in the Premier League today, Bournemouth 1-0 winners over Liverpool. Zaha flicks a back heel pass which doesn't come off. Gundogan caught by Lokonga. Referee plays advantage. Haaland quickly moves it out to the right-hand side. Alvarez is involved. Rodri side foots the ball out to Bernardo Silva. Riyad Mahrez still sitting on that Manchester City bench. Silva, nice ball, nice turn. Alvarez shoots wide. Miscues it with his right foot. The first touch to set up the chance was absolutely beautiful. The finish didn't match it.
Oh, the turn is sensational from Alvarez, and you might see him playing a bit more central alongside Haaland with Foden off. But it's the ball from Bernardo as well. The pace of the ball into him allows him to kind of turn and spin away there. I think it's Milivojevic who just dangles the leg, but then the finish not as good. Places it over the bar.
Yeah, the finish, he sort of almost tries to beat Guaita at the near post.
Yeah.
He's coming in on the sort of right-hand side of the penalty area. And the finish, I mean, it's easy to see in the replay, but Guaita's sort of bottom right of his goal, that shot across the keeper looked like the one. But anyway, he's missed. Milivojevic is coming off, and one of the January signings, Nairu Ahamada, who joined from Stuttgart in January, is coming into the Crystal Palace midfield. Bournemouth 1, Liverpool 0 earlier on today. Everton 1, Brentford 0. So important wins for Bournemouth and Everton in the relegation battle. Leeds 2, Brighton 2 was the commentary on 5 Live earlier this afternoon. Chelsea 3-1 winners at Leicester. Tottenham beat Nottingham Forest by 3-1. Those were the scorelines in the Premier League. You've probably been listening to the rugby on 5 Live this afternoon. Massive win for France at Twickenham by 53 points to 10. But Danny Gabidon, as the former Welsh international, will be pleased that Wales won 29-17.
Did they?
Away to Italy. They did indeed, Danny.
Wow,
yeah.
they're off the mark.
Into the last half hour of the game. Ayew does well for Crystal Palace. Under pressure inside the Manchester City half. Kept the ball, but then eventually can't find Zaha with the pass. And Zaha lets his frustration show. Just barks out his disappointment at his teammate there. Throws out the arms. But Palace, as you were saying, Danny, a few moments ago, need everyone committed and all pulling in the same.
At it. Frustration is no good when you're coming up against a team like Man City, because you let frustration creep into your game and then suddenly you switch off, you lose a little bit of concentration, you don't close a player down maybe like you should, and that's when Man City can punish you. So
4 draws in the last 4 home Premier League games for Crystal Palace against Manchester United, Newcastle, Brighton and Liverpool. Crystal Palace fans, the loyal fans at Selhurst Park haven't actually seen their team win a home game in the last 7 in all competitions. Last one was against Southampton at the end of October. But were they to take a point from this one, starting today 4 points above the bottom 3, I don't think they'd be grumbling too much. Can they offer a threat themselves in this second half? Joachim Andersen's under pressure from Erling Haaland in the right back position, tries to clear. Grealish is there to block. Haaland can't find Grealish with a return pass. Ahamada brings it away down the right. Nice ball to try and find Ayew. Akanji's got it covered and side foots back to Ederson, who's had absolutely nothing to do for the majority of this game. Touches it once and passes it back to Akanji.
Yeah, that was good from Akanji though, just reading where that ball from Ahamada was going to go. Ayew just looking to spin into the channel, but Akanji's positioning very good there, getting across, reading the play really well.
Manchester City, of course, in Champions League action on Tuesday night at home to Leipzig. That tie will start at 1-1. Ball over the top for Alvarez to chase. He's got too much on it. Bounces and skids into the arms of Vicente Guaita. Guaita just rolls it out here to the feet of Guéhi. Ball forward to Schlupp. Schlupp crosses the halfway line wide on the left. Zaha just keeps his balance. Back it comes to Guéhi. And Guéhi with his right foot goes to the diagonal out towards Elise, beyond him and out for a throw. Of course, back in August, Palace actually led Manchester City by 2-0 in the first half and at half-time. They eventually lost the game by 4-2. Mr. Haaland scoring 3 in 19 minutes. They know the danger is there. He's had one great chance in the first half tonight. Manchester City have been looking for him with the crosses, but so far Crystal Palace have dealt with them. Rodri plays across here to Akanji. Akanji finds Rodri in the centre circle, head up and looking for options. Ake is one of them in space on the left. Ake's cross not great, blocked by Elise. Elise plays it back and receives it back and tries to get away down the right, and that's a bad challenge from Ake. Racing back, was trying to win the ball, completely missed it, got Elise and caught him heavily. Yellow card for Nathan Ake.
Yeah, just a race between the two. Lokonga, he's been very good, I think. He's been breaking up play, and he just looks to release. Elise down his right hand side. It's a straight race between the two. Ake sees the ball, might have actually hurt himself in the tackle as well a little bit.
He has done it, yeah.
He just gets there first. Elise pokes it away from him, and cynical challenge. No complaints there with a yellow.
5 Live and Radio 5 Sports Extra. Premier League commentary. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. If you're a golf fan on Sports Extra tonight from 8 o'clock, commentary on the 3rd round of the Players at Sawgrass. Ian Carter and the team will bring you that commentary on the 4th round tomorrow night as well. I'm feeling Danny might be tuned to that on the way home. I know you like your golf, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Danny.
Very much so.
Yeah. Zaha has it for Palace, holds on to it, plays the ball across the halfway line to Lokonga. That's a nice ball forward to Ahamada. Ahamada takes it beyond Diaz. Rodri bumps into the back of him. Advantage played. Zaha onto it, trying to make a drink inside the box. Referee now brings it back. The ball's hit the referee, and he's going to give a drop ball. Crystal Palace aren't going to get their free kick for a second there, you know. When the advantage was played and Zaha got onto it, Danny, I could just foresee someone sticking a leg out and possibly conceding the penalty, but wisely, who was it? It was Rodri decided not to stick that leg out.
He does kind of dangle a left leg out, but he kind of gets it back in quick enough, and you know he needs no second invitations, Will, for Zaha to kind of go over a dangling leg. He doesn't.
Oh, he nearly did, didn't he? I don't think actually Rodri made contact with Ahamada for what I thought was going to be the initial free kick. He was stumbling forward anyway, so the ref called that right. Elise tackles Ake inside the Manchester City half. Palace fans sensing something might be on the card, something special. Lovely flick from Gundogan. Finds Rodri. Rodri 10 yards inside his own half, bringing it forward. Little chip ball, bounces into the path of Gundogan. Gundogan spins on his heel, moves away from Elise. Finds Rodri with a pacey pass. Rodri still going up to the edge of the box to Alvarez. Alvarez suddenly has 3 red and blue shirts in front of him. Looks for Grealish on the left. Elise's back there, gets a toe on the ball. Did he concede a corner? Yes, he did. He took it over the byline. Manchester City will get a corner. They are running out of time here, though, at the moment in terms of the 3 points required to put the pressure on Arsenal. We've played 21 minutes in the second half now. Still goalless.
Yeah, not really created too much second half. Man City, that Alvarez chance probably the best one, and they have changed shape with Alvarez coming on. It's very much a 4-4-2 now. Alvarez and Haaland up front, and in some ways that might just help Crystal Palace a little bit in terms of getting a bit more of a foothold in midfield and a bit more space in possession, but obviously now have to deal with a double threat, 2 strikers in tandem.
And now the set piece, Gundogan's ball into the near post, headed away. Alvarez controls it on the edge of the penalty area. Gundogan is free, wide on the left. Gundogan back to Alvarez. Alvarez drives it low, straight at Guaita. Comfortable save. 0-0. I've forgotten this stat as well. Still no shots on target for Crystal Palace, who didn't have any shots on target in the last 2 games either. Since this sort of data began to be collected in 2003, no side has gone 3 games in the Premier League without a shot on target. So that is the aim for Crystal Palace, to try and avoid that, but actually to try and score themselves a goal and get themselves a famous win. 0-0. Offside flag is up against Jordan Ayew, free kick Manchester City.
Yeah, that is a stat that surprises me a little bit. You look at the attacking players that Crystal Palace have, you really wouldn't think that would be an issue for them, but I certainly think last season they played a bit more on the front foot than this season. Now, whether results have dictated how Patrick Vieira is setting up his team recently as well, I don't know, but I do think the football was a bit more positive last season. They were looking to attack teams a lot more last season. Maybe this season's a bit more pragmatic and a bit more defensively minded, and maybe that's affected the attacking side of their game a little bit, I don't know.
21 goals in 25 Premier League games. A lot of defending to do here. Grealish dances away from Elise, still gliding forward, looking for Haaland, holding off Anderson, trying to get it back to Grealish. Couldn't do that. Guehi looking for Zaha, not the best ball to him. Alvarez is back to win it for Manchester City. Akanji not quite sure what to do with it. Just plays it to his left to Ruben Dias. Pep Guardiola looking ever so slightly anxious, hands buried deep in pockets on the edge of the pitch. Gundogan rolls it out to his right. John Stones with the cross, looking for Haaland. Anderson's there to flick the header away. Picked up by Bernardo Silva. He's going to let that run all the way for a throw-in. Picks the ball up, takes that throw to Ruben Dias, to Silva, back to Akanji on the halfway line. Joel Ward getting ready to come on for Crystal Palace with just over 20 minutes to go. Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Manchester City knew this was going to be a tough assignment. Often is for them against Crystal Palace, certainly in Pep Guardiola's time. Ake to Silva. Silva 40 yards from goal, inside left channel, twisting and turning. Ahamada trying to stick with him. Silva eventually loses him, doesn't make much ground, but with the outside of the foot finds Akanji. Akanji in a central position, plays wide to Stones. Alvarez makes the run on the outside. Stones comes back into Akanji. Akanji looking for the ball into the edge of the box. Haaland can't quite turn. Haaland gets another chance. Little dink ball just beyond Gundogan. Guaita is off his line quickly and collects it for Crystal Palace. Danny Gabadon.
Yeah, ball just fired into the feet of Haaland. He's looking to turn. He's got Gundogan just running off the back of him. He's just looking to throw the ball into his path, and he would have been on goal. Just slightly overhits it, but just struggling here a little bit, Man City at times. I think the pace of their play a little bit too slow in possession. You're looking for those players who are going to kind of quicken the attack up, who's going to maybe go past the player to open this Crystal Palace defence up. It's not really happening at the minute.
Change it right back for Crystal Palace. Simple change. Nathaniel Klein off, who's been the regular starter. Joel Ward, hugely experienced player, over 300 appearances for Crystal Palace. His 11th season at the club. Takes a final swig of water and sprints onto the pitch at Selhurst Park. We're into the last 20 minutes of the game. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Premier League leaders Arsenal away to Fulham at 2 o'clock tomorrow. 12 games to go in the title race starting today. Manchester City and Arsenal have played the same amount of games. Obviously, once City have finished this one, then Arsenal have the game in hand, which comes tomorrow. Manchester United also playing tomorrow. Oh, Bernardo Silva trying to thread one through to Gundogan, very nearly found it. Elise side foots it towards Ayew. Rodri in with the challenge. Plays back to Dias. Manchester City have been in this situation so many times before. Here's Rodri on the turn. Finds Ake. Ake wide to Grealish. Grealish down the line to Bernardo Silva. Silva gets an early cross in. Haaland looking to attack it at the far post. I thought he was going to do one of those flying kung fu kicks to try and get on the end of that. Stuck a leg out and couldn't get a touch on it. Zaha battling with Akanji. Challenge comes in from Stones on Zaha. Throwing goes Manchester City's way, midway inside the Palace half. Taken quickly by Stones. He was alert. Finds Alvarez. Cross comes in. Haaland again sniffing around, but it's cleared. Zaha Off the studs, the ball comes back here and is cleared straight out of play by Schlupp for a throw into Manchester City.
But I can't really understand why the fans would boo that. He's not trying to do that, Jeffrey Schlupp, but it puts so much pressure on you, Man City. Crystal Palace not seeing a lot of the ball at times. That ball is just going to go forward and get cleared to nobody. And fans need to stay with the team in those kind of situations.
Bernardo Silva back heel. Crystal Palace have every outfield player behind the ball inside their own half. Still 0-0 against the Premier League champions. Arsenal fans listening intently, I'm sure. Ake to Silva. Akanji's in space on his right if he wants him. Draws the man Zaha, plays it to Akanji. Back to Silva, 40 yards from goal. Shovels it forward. Rodri now looking for the run of Alvarez. Intercepted. Elise finds Ayew. Elise continues to make a run, gets it back, crosses the halfway line. Noise levels go up inside Selhurst Park. Elise looking for an option. Ayew just didn't quite have the pace to get onto the ball. Diaz's clearance hits Ayew, goes out for a Manchester City throw.
It just looks like Crystal Palace have made a slight tweak to their attacking set. It looks like Jordan Ayew's playing a little bit more central. We've seen Wilfred Zaha doing that for most of the game. He seems to have gone a little bit more out to that left-hand side now. Man City very much a 4-4-2. Bernardo Silva out on our right-hand side. Alvarez and Haaland up front.
Silva to Rodri, just inside the Manchester City half. Across here to Ake. Back to Rodri. Rodri with the lofted diagonal out to John Stones. Stones is closed down quickly, so releases a pass back to Akanji, and Akanji comes jogging forward to the halfway line. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 0. Just over 15 minutes to play. Good driving run forward from Rodri. Eventually stopped in his tracks before he could get the pass away. Ahamada playing it up to Zaha. Alvarez too quick for Zaha. Nips in, wins it for Manchester City. Here's Akanji. Akanji, as he plays the pass to Stones, just holds his palms out and says slow, let's do it calmly. Here's Bernardo Silva on the dribble, goes down on the edge of the box, challenge on Rodri, he goes down, no free kick. Ball is cleared out from the back. Akanji, watchful as ever, covers the run of Zaha, plays it back to Ederson, and another minute ticks away. 16 minutes to play. Here's Diaz. Diaz to Ake. Still just the one change made by Pep Guardiola, with Alvarez on for Foden. Rodri again running hard with the ball, wide to Stones. Stones with the cross in, not the best from him, right across the face of goal, but no chance for a teammate to get onto that, and he goes out all the way across on Manchester City's left wing for a throw into Crystal Palace. Just so we're talking about the changes, look who's getting his kit on and ready to go. Kevin De Bruyne, Danny.
Forgot about him. What a player to come on. Not someone you want to see if you're a Crystal Palace player right now, the quality that he has, but needs must here for Pep Guardiola, because they don't really look like scoring, Man City.
No. 72% possession is absolutely no surprise. 12 shots they've had today, not found a way through. Rodri, long way out, dummies the shot onto his left foot, edge of the box, little turn from Gundogan. Manchester City want a penalty, not going to get it. They are going to get a corner.
There's lots of Crystal Palace bodies back really deep on the edge of that 18-yard box, making it really difficult for Man City to play through. Ball into the feet of Gundogan, and Guehi getting tight. Yes, there is contact, not enough for a penalty for me.
Corner taken short to Gundogan. Gundogan plays it back to Grealish. Oh, Gundogan's down. Was caught, penalty. Manchester City took the corner quickly. Grealish into the feet of Gundogan. As he was playing it back to Jack Grealish, there was a challenge on him, I think, from Michael Elise. Gundogan went down. The referee, Robert Jones, took his time, but then very clearly pointed to the spot and blew his whistle. This the chance for Erling Haaland to give Manchester City the lead.
Yeah, there's enough contact this time on Gundogan. They just go to sleep. Michael Elise, they take a short corner, and then he almost panics. He's trying to get back to Gundogan quickly, and he just dangles out that left leg. Gundogan plays the ball away, and he just almost catches him on the top of the foot. And just the reaction of Elise there, he knew straight away what he'd done. He had no complaints.
Clumsy challenge. I just wonder whether Crystal Palace were half thinking Manchester City might delay the taking of the corner to see whether VAR was going to look at the earlier one that Manchester City were claiming for. City, though, they were sharp, they took it quickly, and here comes the chance. Erling Haaland has had to wait. Big moment for the big man, and you can see the steam coming off him as he stands sweating, breathing heavily, holding the ball in both hands. just lobbing it up and down. Vicente Guaita's made him wait. Now Haaland's going to make Guaita wait. Pops the ball on the spot. 33 goals for Manchester City this season. Takes 4 purposeful steps back. Here he comes. Good penalty into the bottom corner. Guaita goes the wrong way, and Manchester City finally have the breakthrough. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, big goal for Man City. Crystal Palace doing an excellent job really second half of containing them, but this is what they do. They keep probing, they keep coming at you, they keep recycling possession, and they just wait for someone to lose concentration, switch off. And on this occasion it's Michael Olise, dangles at that left leg on Gundogan, gives the foul away, and he's clinical on this occasion. Erling Haaland just rolls it to Guaita's right hand side, into that far corner. He dives to the left. Big goal.
Very deliberate mental preparation from Erling Haaland. Was never going to be rushed there. Guaita delayed him, but Haaland didn't put the ball on the spot until he was ready. Really fired up in the celebrations as well. It's been another frustrating afternoon for him because missed an absolute sitter in the first half. Other times he's not been played in when he would like to be. But now he's had the chance from the penalty spot. 28 Premier League goals this season, and Kevin De Bruyne still comes onto the field. So, Palace 0, Manchester City 1, and in terms of the title race, what it means is if Manchester City go on to win the game, they will move to 61 points, Arsenal on 63. Manchester City will have played a game more. Arsenal away to Fulham at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Manchester City with the bit between their teeth. Grealish to Haaland. Oh, Haaland's finish blocked by the legs of Guaita. He was aiming for that bottom corner. Guaita off his line so quickly, prevents it going to 2-0. Was it offside?
Yeah, offside. Gone up. It's an excellent save though still. It's a tight one. He is offside. Great ball played in behind Anderson. The run of Haaland, he's on a tight angle. The keeper's out quickly. Saves it with his left leg, but just goes slightly early.
Eberechi Eze is coming on, and Odsonne-Edouard is coming on as well. Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp, the men to make way for Crystal Palace. Determined defensive effort from them, but they haven't had a shot on target, and so when you do go 1-0 down, you can't argue, can you, Danny? Manchester City deserve to be in front.
You'd have to say they've had the better chances. They've dominated possession, and this is what Man City do. I've been there myself as a player where you feel for a large part of the game you've done all right, you're still in the game, and then a player just switches off, loses concentration. Olise there, maybe a bit of tiredness. He hasn't seen too much of the ball. He's done a lot of defensive work and done it really well, I think, this afternoon. That's one of the sides of his game that probably needs to improve. Patrick Vieira, we've heard him speak a lot about that, and it's just a lazy kind of tired challenge, isn't it? You can't do that inside the 18-yard box, dangle a leg.
No, he's just panicked and seen Gundogan in space and worried that it's his fault and gone hurtling in, and then couldn't hit the brakes, caught Gundogan, and there was contact. It was a penalty, it was a goal. Erling Haaland stuck it away. So Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1, 10 minutes plus added time remaining. Manchester City throw wide on the left, which Nathan Ake gets ready to take. Ake throws down the line towards Haaland. Haaland and Anderson having a really physical battle, and Haaland concentrating so much on holding Anderson off, he lost control of the ball, got away from him and went out for a throw. No denying he loves the battle. He's chasing here, chasing hard here. Oh, Lokonga just heard him come in there, turns inside his own 6-yard box, gets away from Haaland and plays the ball.
He's been really good, Lokonga. Been really impressed with him in and out of possession.
Eze, another one of those brilliantly creative players for Crystal Palace. They need something now to try and find themselves a goal. Zaha is tangling there with John Stones on the halfway line. Stones did foul him. Zaha didn't like it. He reacted. Stones is now down hurt, and again the referee has got to separate all the players.
Yeah. Well, Zaha gets fouled initially. He doesn't like it. He reacts, but then John Stones almost looks like he kicks out a little bit with that right leg as well. And then he actually goes down, possibly feigning injury. One we need to see again.
I don't know whether from the challenge Zaha almost had hold of Stones' leg, because you're right, his leg was up high in the air for quite a while there, so we'll have to have a look on the monitor here. Zaha's trying to get away from Stones. Zaha barges into him twice. Stones is over the back of them. Yeah, so Zaha holds his leg and twists it as Stones is making the challenge, and Stones goes down holding his knee, and then Zaha gives him a mouthful as he's on the floor.
Good battle between the two. Zaha infuriated. He's a bit over aggressive, John Stones, and he almost just lifts his right leg up with his hand, and
it's like a special move in Tekken. Do you ever play Tekken?
WWE, that.
Yeah, exactly. So after all that, Crystal Palace will get a free kick, which is right because the initial foul was from John Stones, but the Zaha reaction was a little over the top. You can sense the frustration. 8 minutes to play plus added time. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Erling Haaland from the penalty spot. Zaha immediately gets the ball again. Akanji clears. De Bruyne says, get out of the way to Erling Haaland. You get moving, I'll take this. De Bruyne looks up. Pinpoint, perfect pass. Finds Grealish. Grealish, corner of the box. Right-footed cross in towards Haaland. Looping header over the bar. And once again, he holds his head in his hands. Apart from the penalty, not quite been on it in terms of the
that's
finishing.
a good chance again. Brilliant from De Bruyne to set this attack up. Crossing the ball to Grealish early. He's in that 1v1 situation with Joe Ward. Great ball into the box, onto the header. Haaland, free header. Hits it over the bar.
Temper's boiling up a little bit in the stands here at Selhurst Park. That is a free kick for Crystal Palace. Gundogan made the challenge. He was aghast that the referee had given the decision. Crystal Palace, without a win in their last 10 games in all competitions, could stretch to 11. That would be 10 in the Premier League. They would remain 4 points above the bottom three. A couple of tough games to come as well before the international break. Here's Joel Ward trying to get away down the right. Next up for them is Brighton away on Wednesday, and then Arsenal away before the break. Here's Elise. Elise hugging the right-hand touchline, running at Ake, does get the cross in beyond Ederson. Stones runs it down the byline, can't control it. Here's Zaha. Zaha shoots, Stones blocks it. Ball spins up in the air, bounces in front of Zaha. Alvarez is back there. Stones got a touch, ball back to the edge of the box. Alhamada, little sideways pass. Eze's effort takes a deflection. Ederson can't keep it from going out for a corner, and then you hear the roar from the Holmesdale Road end. 6 minutes to play. Palace 0, Manchester City 1.
Yeah, good little spell of pressure there from Crystal Palace. Can they get some kind of concerted pressure on this Man City team with the minutes that remain? Very, very difficult, but they recycle possession well there from the cross.
Elise with the corner into the far post. Ake wins the first header, volleyed away by Gundogan with real intent. Bumps into the back of Ahamada, who took exception to that. Gundogan immediately apologises. Ahamada turns and sees it's one of football's nice guys and accepts the apology. Manchester City closing Crystal Palace down. That's a foul though. That's overly aggressive from Julian Alvarez. Palace fans don't like it. I mean, it kills the game as well, doesn't it? It just slows it down, breaks it up. That's what City want.
Yeah, and they do that on occasions. They can be streetwise. Manchester City
leading 1-0. Here come Palace. Got to go for it now. Eze wide to Zaha, suddenly become a feature in the game. Zaha plays back to Guehi, across to Anderson, wide to Elise. Ake closes him down, played back to Ward. Grealish comes towards him. Joachim Anderson receives the pass, and Pep Guardiola is now down on his haunches on this muddy touchline at Selhurst Park, watching as Zaha takes the ball from Eze. Clever pass back to Eze on the edge of the box, can't find a teammate, gives it to Gundogan. Gundogan turns, very calmly plays back to John Stones. We're into the last 5 minutes of the game at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Grealish plays it back to Ake. Ake happy to clear it first time up towards Haaland. Anderson wins the header for Palace. Elise looks for Ahamada. He's lost it. Ake back to Ederson. Edouard comes rushing in. Ederson clears first time. Good meaty thwack of the ball downfield. Clever back header from Anderson to Vicente Guaita. But having conceded late, Palace have so little time to try and get back in this game.
Need to throw a little bit more caution to the wind now because of Palace.
Oh, Zaha, good ball to Edouard. Edouard one-on-one with Diaz. Diaz stands his ground. Then the flag goes up. Referee delayed the lifting of the flag. Ruben Diaz turns and howls at him in frustration, but it will be a free kick for Manchester City.
Yeah, we don't like us like that. Us defenders, that new rule with the offside flag going up late. Just looked like Edouard had got in. Diaz got back, made the interception, and then just remonstrates for the linesman. Get your flag up quicker.
This is one of those classic games in a title race. Not been hugely pretty. Manchester City not necessarily been at their best. Their star centre forward has missed a couple of great chances. You've just got to find a way to win the game, and by taking the quick corner and Elise making the clumsy challenge, they may well have just done that, but still a little bit of time left. Moving into the 88th minute here. Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Diaz plays across to Akanji, and City quite happy just to keep it at the moment, although John Stones is tearing off down the right looking for a pass. Alvarez gets it in midfield inside the Palace half. Play back to Gundogan. Gundogan across to Ake, down the line to De Bruyne. Is going to be pretty well rested for Champions League football against Leipzig on Tuesday night. So will Riyad Mahrez, who's a regular Champions League starter for Manchester City. Pep Guardiola just giving it the classic football, pointing to the temples and saying concentrate, concentrate. Kyle Walker's going to get the last couple of minutes as well of this game. Here's Elise as the rain's falling again at Selhurst Park. Ake makes the challenge from behind. Referee blows the whistle. Free kick, but not in a dangerous position as such, because it's deep in Crystal Palace territory. Change coming now. John Stones is coming off. Kyle Walker's coming on. John Stones has missed the last 8 games before today. He was playing well before that injury, and Danny Gabardon and Pep Guardiola, obvious thing to say, I want to keep him fit.
He certainly will. He has had issues this season with that backline. Pep Guardiola, he's had to change and rotate quite a lot. John Stones out for a period of time. Ruben Diaz has been out for a period of time. So for Man City to kind of still have the best defensive record in the Premier League alongside Arsenal, it's credit to him as well. So he'll be hoping the likes of Diaz and John Stones can stay really fit now for the run-in, because they're really important players for the team.
Ball cleared by Palace up to the halfway line, chested down by Rodri, who goes stampeding forward. He's lost it though. Crystal Palace running out of time. Joel Ward, ball forward to Ahamada, turns, finds Edouard. Edouard just inside the Manchester City half, cross to Eze. Palace fans wanted at the feet of Zaha. It is now. Takes on Kyle Walker. Zaha taking him on the outside. Here's the cutback. No one there for Crystal Palace, and the ball just runs across, invitingly across the Manchester City penalty area, and eventually Grealish gets back and clears it away. No one there.
Yeah, he just slightly drags the ball back, Wilver Zaha. There was 2 or 3 Crystal Palace players making runs into the 8-yard box, but just drags the ball back behind all 3 of them.
90th minute of the game. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. 5 Live and Radio 5 Sports Extra. Joachim Andersen comes running out of defence with the ball. Erling Haaland's had the full game tonight, but I'm pretty certain he's going to be starting on Tuesday night against Leipzig as well. That Champions League tie is going to start 1-1. 4th official. Thomas Bramwell getting ready to put the board up for added time. Here's Elise. Elise to Ward. Ward's ball forward cut out by Diaz. Down the line to Grealish. Here's Gundogan. First time ball. Haaland's puffed. He's not chasing that. Goes all the way through to Guaita. 4 minutes. 4 minutes remaining. Manchester City trying to close within 2 points of Arsenal at the top of the table. Leading 1-0. Crystal Palace have 4 minutes to try and find a goal.
Big result, big result for Manchester City if they can hang on. It's an opportunity to apply a little bit of pressure to Arsenal with them playing tomorrow, close that kind of points gap and kind of hand it back to them and say, what can you do? But still a couple of minutes to see out here for Man City.
Akanji and Gundogan bump into each other as Akanji wins a meaty 50-50. Gundogan picks himself up, gets the ball back from De Bruyne, glides past Lokonga, plays it to Kevin De Bruyne, and De Bruyne's just happy to hold on to it and play back to Akanji inside his own half. So 3 minutes of added time remaining. Manchester City closing this game out. Crystal Palace need the ball and they can't get it. Chasing those shadows, those crisscross shadows that are now being formed by the floodlights above the players on the Selhurst Park pitch. Ruben Diaz gets the ball from Rodri just outside his own penalty area. No one to challenge him. Across to Ake, back to Diaz. Suddenly Ahamada realises he's got to get forward and put some pressure on the ball. Back it comes to Ederson. Ederson side foots a slightly awkward one to Diaz, and he just flicks a pass that hits the shins of Elise. Goes out for a throw to Manchester City. Elise is going to be so annoyed with himself after this game, isn't he, Danny, for that challenge?
Silly mistake to make. As I say, up until that point, we've done the defensive side of the game very, very well. Just lack of concentration. That's all it takes.
Crystal Palace fans claiming Ake was taking his time over the throw-in. Manchester City were obviously complaining about similar. when the game was 0-0. 'Twas ever thus. Oh, Gahey lets that bounce, and Haaland's closing in. Haaland wrestling with Gahey. Gahey stands up strong. Might be able to find Elise here on the right-hand side. Ake's backpedaling, wins the first header. Elise's underneath it. Slips, though, as he chests the ball down. Gundogan's there. Plays it to Grealish on the left. 2 minutes of this game remaining. Palace 0, Manchester City 1. Grealish caught late. That's going to slow the game down. Free kick for Manchester City. Grealish taking a bit of abuse here from some Crystal Palace fans down in front of our commentary position. Hamada apologises for the challenge. Grealish on his feet and has done well for his team there, Jack Grealish. So could be a 4th consecutive win for Manchester City. 4-1 at Bournemouth, knocked Bristol City out of the FA Cup, beat Newcastle 2-0 last week. All of those wins since that 1-1 draw against Leipzig, and after the game against Leipzig we've got Burnley, Vincent Kompany's Burnley coming to town in the FA Cup next weekend. Gundogan's doing up his shoelaces. Palace fans not happy about the delay. Haaland wins a good header, nods it down to De Bruyne. De Bruyne making a run, caught on the edge of the box. Free kick for Manchester City, just outside the left-hand side of Crystal Palace's penalty area, and there's 1 minute to go.
Yeah, and I think from a Crystal Palace point of view, just ramps up the pressure a little bit more. And the manager, Patrick Vieira, difficult one to judge when you come up against Manchester City. It's always going to be difficult. But again, no shots on target, haven't really tested Ederson at all.
Saw a yellow card there. Was it Anderson? Anderson for the challenge on De Bruyne. 30 seconds to play. I thought I saw Pep Guardiola pointing to the corner flag. I don't think he's interested with this ball yet. They're going to give it to Haaland, I think. He's quite difficult to knock off the ball. So Grealish will tap it short. Haaland heads for the corner flag. Here we go. Who's going to be brave enough to barge into Haaland? Lokonga shoves him over. Haaland falls into the ball and Crystal Palace get the throw. Haaland's not best pleased and just puts his body in the way to stop Palace taking the throw in. But time is almost out for Crystal Palace. Throw in down the right from Joel Ward. Header won by Grealish up towards Haaland. Joel Ward jumps into the back of him. That is that at Selhurst Park. And who knows, come the end of the season, how important those 3 points are going to be for Manchester City. Not the prettiest performance, and the winner came from the boot of Erling Haaland, which it so often does. This one from the penalty spot in the second half. Elise jumping into an ill-advised challenge, and you can see Erling Haaland thumping his chest in celebration. They have closed the gap on Arsenal at the top of the table to just 2 points. Arsenal away at Fulham tomorrow. Danny Gabidon, it's finished. Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 1. From City's point of view, job done.
Yeah, big result. We were speaking before kick-off, talking about the importance of this game for Man City. There can't be too many more slip-ups between now and the end of the season, and that's what title-winning teams do. When you're not quite at your best, you find a way of getting the job done, of getting the win, and that's exactly what they've done. Second half didn't really look like they were going to get a goal, but they keep going, they keep probing, and that man Erling Haaland coming up with a winner again. So Pep Guardiola will be absolutely delighted with a win, and obviously on to midweek now with the Champions League.
Champions League for Manchester City. Obviously we're going to see the response from Arsenal tomorrow. Just puts a little bit of pressure back on them. Danny, you used to play for Crystal Palace. Let's finish by focusing on them. Patrick Vieira is under a bit of pressure because that's no wins in 2023. It's no wins in the last 10 Premier League games. Plenty of draws in there. They can't quite score the goals. Couple of difficult games to come, and Crystal Palace find themselves 4 points above the bottom 3. Are you worried about them?
I am a little bit. 4 points off the relegation zone. You are in a relegation dogfight. It's as simple as that. So look, they need to find a win from somewhere very quickly. Need to get over the line and get 3 points and reinstill a little bit of confidence back into this Palace team. I think the performance wasn't that bad today against a very good Manchester City team. Defensively good, organised for the most part, but again, the attacking side of the game lacking, not creating enough chances. But look, they'll keep plugging away at it, and I think they will be okay at the end of the season. And then Patrick Vieira will have to look at it again, and I just think a little bit more investment is needed as well into this Palace team going into next season. But
so Palace, thank you Danny, 4 points above the bottom 3. Manchester City 2 points behind the leaders. Arsenal, the Manchester City players continue to celebrate the win. Erling Haaland is out there, and Pep Guardiola eventually is having to drag him back. I'll recap the Premier League scores for you in just a second. Other sport going on around the globe this evening, though. Russell Fuller out in California watching Emma Raducanu playing tennis at Indian Wells. Russell.